Hi guys, and welcome back to PJ Maybe's Wednesday stream, and we are talking the Boondock Saints. Good movie, very good movie. I really enjoyed it. So,
I think
what
I'm
was
the
your
one to
thoughts?
blame.
You picked that one, yes, and it was a very good one because I had it for a wee while, but it's just not appeared on my list. But definitely one that I enjoy. It is definitely something that anybody can enjoy. I don't know. It's just, what category would you class it if you liked a particular type of movie? What would you go for? Because obviously it's a bit gangsterish, but it's also got a religious bent on it, and it's also a what do you call it, a vigilante movie.
I'm gonna be brave and say if you like even just remotely, so it wasn't your best film, but you remotely like Boss Level. This is a film, considering it was made what 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah,
It's
1999.
definitely in that category. It's providing you with actions, heroes, villains, deep, dark sides, all of that. But you get the feel for the individuals. Yes, they're killing people, they're murdering people. But
Yeah.
do you really
You look
think
at
that
the Charles Bronson one. I'm trying to remember the name off the top of my head. The Charles Bronson one. Oh, what was that called?
Death Wish.
Death Wish.
Yeah, Death Wish.
It's very Death Wish. I initially thought, when obviously I was reading bits and pieces about it, I thought it started when the priest gets killed. But it didn't start then. It started when the bar gets threatened.
Mm-hmm.
But what caused them to go on against the Russian mob and do the hit, even though Funny Guy came in to actually finish it off, it's implied that they were sent in first and he was the backup. But it didn't seem to apply that way. So yeah, I was a bit unsure why they started, even though the bit when they fell through the roof was funny.
It was a great
What
moment.
do you need a rope for?
They beat the sense out of each other.
And they didn't even actually prepare it. They were just tangled up in it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite good.
I think this movie's got so much going for it. It's like a buddy movie. It's adventure. You know, it's like cop buddy movie sort of vibe. It's got a bit of a Tarantino vibe to it because of a lot of the violence and the dark humor, which Tarantino sort of is very good at doing. In fact, I had to check to see who wrote and directed it because I was really intrigued. And I have to admit, I'm not that familiar with is it Troy Duffy who who's
Troy Duffy,
writing and directing this one, but he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, it was really enjoyable throughout. It basically kept you enthralled throughout, I must admit. And I must admit, because I hadn't seen it and I had heard so much about it, but the problem was the bits I'd heard about it, there was also another one, Boondock Saints 2, plus there was a TV show, and I think all those got all mixed in, and it as far as I understand, the second movie was good, and the TV show was crap.
Because Troy Duffy, the person that really did create this, apparently he got caught up in the, shall we say, the maelstrom of Hollywood celebrity and everything. So he really didn't have the expectation that Boondock Saints, the first film, was really going to be that amazing. But suddenly he had all this money and all these connections, and obviously Hollywood being, unfortunately, drugs, rock and roll, yeah. the whole thing. He got caught up a little bit in that, and suddenly he was just like flat out broke or whatever it was. I'm not too familiar with the story, but I do understand that he got caught up in the maelstrom.
Well, that's what they say. People who have no expectations seem to get caught up because they get thrown in at the deep end, whereas people who grew up in that environment sort of weather it better because they see it around them day in, day out. It's really weird that if you come into it and if you don't keep your feet in the ground, you literally can get dragged away with it. Whereas you've got other ones who the class is royalty because their family grew up in it. So like you had Carrie Fisher, whose mum and dad were in that environment. She obviously got dragged in as she got brought up in it, and obviously how it affected her. Because so it's a weird one. It's one of those ones if you are stepping into it, you need to be very careful or else you can get carried away with it. And obviously he's done that. He get carried away with it, which is unfortunate considering the quality of the Boondock Saints. It was thoroughly entertaining, and if that's how what his mind works like, God knows what he could have actually done after that.
There are so many scenes within it, and if you paid attention, it's like, wow. Even considering that this is a film of the 90s, it's like, whoa, that was actually really shocking. It's like, really?
It was actually, when I think about it, when that was made, absolutely, that would have been quite a big deal. When did Reservoir Dogs come out?
Probably a couple of years before this.
92.
I haven't seen a link between Troy Duffy and any Tarantino.
So Reservoir Dogs, Darren is saying, was before Pulp Fiction. And then, so because this does have that feel about it, so I did wonder, sort of like chicken and egg, I was wondering which came first, because I love both of those other films, even though they can be quite difficult to watch sometimes.
1992 Reservoir Dogs came out 7 years before.
Sorry, PJ?
1992 Reservoir Dogs came out. So 7 years before. So
interesting. Is it even not, because Reservoir Dogs even has that little bit of, sort of dark humor about it, that sort of sideways.
The way it looks at it, it has. I wonder if he actually was influenced by Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know. I was just reading the wiki entry, be that as it may, and it mentions that Troy Duffy indicated that the screenplay was inspired by personal experience of his while living in LA. But it doesn't elaborate further. So I thought that was interesting.
Let's see. I'm just trying to think. There's a few connections, obviously, there's within it. Like, for instance, which I noticed, but I was trying to think where the name came from. It's just actually popped up, and as soon as I saw it, I thought, how the hell did I not notice it? Like, Funny Guy, Rocco, when he comes in as the backup, you recognise the name on his uniform, Jafar. That's basically, it's a bit to do with Aladdin. So it's obviously Jafar from Aladdin, because he's obviously the evil. He's come in as to kill the Russians. So he's literally classed they called him Jafar for that reason, which is a bit out there considering. Hi, Captain. Hi,
nice icon, Captain.
Is that Yvonne?
Yes.
Good evening, Captain.
You've got a little assistant there. Oh, he's down now.
No, he's sitting on the.
Oh.
He basically, I think it was because I was talking about Reservoir Dogs. He thought, here, that'll be me. I'll just dump him in a reservoir, shall I? Or is that where we got you? So, hi, MC.
Hey, MC.
Just pop in here quick. He's busy at the moment. I know that, the busy at the moment part. And it is, I must admit, Jim, I was pleasantly surprised. I was expecting a okay movie because although some of Tarantino stuff I like, I'm not a great deal of some of the over-the-top violence he does. Because I think some of the violence, it's just there for the sake of being over the top.
It does need to work with the story. Yeah, I'm with you there,
Yes.
PJ. I don't mind it at all when it works within the story.
So basically, whereas this one, I don't think the violence was over the top. It was ultra violent, but it wasn't grotesquely violent.
I would show this film to a 12-year-old unsupervised, because the violence, as long as they understand, it's cinematic, it's theatrical.
Yeah.
Yes.
If they did understand it, I would be perfectly okay saying a 12-year-old kid can watch this film, because the violence that do happen has a purpose. It has a sense of danger, but it isn't a Quentin Tarantino or the Dawn film, the vampire film.
Till Dusk Till Dawn, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, it doesn't have that gory.
Last week.
Yeah, but the Boondock Saints doesn't have that gory violence. It does have effective. I will say this: effective when violence do happen.
Yeah,
it's with intent. It is with purpose.
But
it is. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't seem overly grotesque violence. Like if it was a Tarantino, I wouldn't expect him to do the executions by standing behind the two guys, the guy with the two of them saying a prayer or not a prayer.
In nomine Patri et Spiritus Sancti.
So they're doing a catechism over him, and basically as they shoot. Whereas if it was a Tarantino, I can see him basically carving the crucifix into him or stuff like that before they killed him. So that's how, if Tarantino was doing it, it would be more grotesquely violent. It wouldn't just be a case of them basically saying a catechism and then shooting them. Whereas in Tarantino, I can see them basically nailing them down in a cross and then carving a crucifix or something like that.
It would be more Inglorious Bastards.
Yes, that type of thing. So, and I think that's why this one works. And yeah, Darren, I will check out Twin Town. My wife likes Trainspotting. I'm not a great Trainspotting fan, I must admit, but I will give Twin Town.
I like the first one, but I find it weird because I would say it's rumors. Me not being Scottish, Scottish people tend to have not liked it, but everyone else seemed to have. And especially Scottish people that moved away from Scotland, which is like a weird thing because the Scottish said, nah, no, we don't want this. And the Scottish people outside of Scotland just went, yeah, it kind of reminds me of home.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. It reminds them of home. And yes, Captain, or no, Captain, we don't need to disagree in anything else. So I'm going to disagree with you in that one. But yeah, sometimes it can be a bit too much if we all agree about certain things. I'm sure we'll find something else we can disagree on. Always. And it was a pleasure coming on last night. It was fun. So, accordingly, a 9-hour stream I saw the Captain did yesterday.
Wow.
And that was on for a bit.
We really need to get the Captain on then, because we have something to learn. I mean, our record stream is what, 6.5 hours?
Yeah, ours is 6.5 hours. He managed to do 9. So I watched a bit more of it this morning. before I went to work. So I did, because it was on in the background as I was getting ready. And MC, yes, there was a sequel. It was in 2009. Was it 2009, the second one, or 2002 or something like that? There was a sequel. And I don't know.
In with when the creator behind the whole Boondock Saints finally tapped out.
And there was
no
also
money left.
an animated one.
Yeah, so he
I don't know
made
about
that
the graphic
second
novel,
story, but I will admit, I saw Boondock Saints, and for me, I wish I had the same discipline with Star Wars. I am okay with Anakin and Jar Jar. I'm okay with that. It's not good, but I'm okay with it. But 7, 8, 9 is definitely stuff I should not have watched. I should have kept 4, 5, and 6, maybe 1, 2, and 3, because obviously everybody got roped into the hype and everything. But 7, 8, 9, no, they're destroying Star Wars.
It's for me, there is only Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, and Empire Strikes Back. Or Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, but that's the only 3. I don't count them as 4, 5, and 6. Because the prequels and the sequels, I don't care enough about to even actually bother about them. But with the Boondock Saints, I know there was a sequel. I think there was an animated one as well, but I don't know how similar that was to anything. And I don't know about the graphic novel, but I think there was. I've not read it, so I don't know about that one. Jim would be the expert on the Boondock Saints if there was a graphic novel. So I don't know, NC. So let's see what. Yeah, the captains. That's right. That's what she said. It was 9 hours. It was fun. I did enjoy it, I must admit. And accordingly, the captains, he says it's his most popular stream. So it was.
Brilliant. It was a fascinating conversation, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I had an absolute blast.
I'm saying nothing, Captain. Saying absolutely nothing to that one. Somebody's talking about somebody's seen. Yeah, I did notice that the chat just kept going and going. But I can't complain about the chat keep going and going, Captain, because when somebody actually stops halfway through the chat to actually chat about other things and get sidetracked, we can't complain if the chat actually runs ahead. Because they're just what we say, we're about 3 hours behind them. So by the time you catch up, I've not seen the sequel yet. That's what I'm going to watch after I rewatch it again, because I enjoyed it enough that I think it needs to be rewatched again when I'm not doing it for a review, just to sit back and relax and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's interesting that I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed the sequel, MC, because I'd always be wary of a sequel in anything, because I really enjoyed this film and I loved the vibe of it, and I wouldn't want to see them overdo it or push it a little bit too far to where it's sort of, you lose that affection that you develop for the characters, you know.
Well, let's go, Brandon. They got a Rotten Tomato score. Critics is 33%, and the user score 93%. Is that really surprising that the critics seem to dislike it, whereas everybody else seem to enjoy it? Because you look at the stuff the critics love and the users seem to actually hate. So I never listen to critic scores, I must admit. I listen to people. Sorry, Wayne.
No, you go ahead, PJ.
What were you saying?
I was just going to say on the subject.
No, I was just saying I would rather listen to people. Am I talking over you again?
I was just going to say, with regard to...
Are you getting a delay?
I must be getting a delay then.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, because there's a silence and then the two was talking.
Yeah,
that's a weird one.
You are a bit pixelated on my side.
Oh, I wonder what's causing that.
Is my signal coming through okay?
Yours is nice and strong, yeah. I'm not getting any issues with your signal. Obviously, I kind of check with James because he's not here. He's away to get his dinner.
You sound fine,
weird
but you are a little bit fuzzy.
Oh, see, whereas in mine it actually looks fine, and I'm actually looking on. Yeah, actually on YouTube it actually looks fine. So it does. But I would need to actually, it is a wee bit, it's jerky. So I think it might be something to do with my internet. So I don't know what's causing that because I've got nothing else opened. But I'll close absolutely everything else down just to make sure I've not got anything stealing all my broadband. Probably my wife talking to her mum. That's what I'm believing. Do you know what it'll be?
And now PJ is completely frozen.
No, how's that? Is that a bit better?
That is, yeah.
It's my VPN. If I select an American hub, it seems certain ones slow down at certain times of the day. So I think that's maybe what it was.
Yeah, you're very clear now.
So there you go. My VPN was the issue.
Yeah,
so I'll need to remember
when the plan comes together. VPN. That's good.
Yes. So,
just to pick up on what Brandon had mentioned earlier, you were talking about the Rotten Tomatoes critics score, but it made me think of something I read in Wiki, and it was that let's see, it was the film was given limited theatrical release of only 5 theaters for 1 week due to movie studio politics and worries about the association at the time with the 1999 Columbine High School massacre. And it was met with poor critical reviews. However, the film ultimately grossed $50 million in domestic video sales and then developed a large cult following. So I think it was just unfortunate timing for the film because obviously people were very, very sensitive at the time because I remember that. And it was such a big, shocking thing that we just hadn't seen the like of before.
Yeah.
But it stayed in the public consciousness, and I think people were a little bit freaked out by anything showing a lot of gun violence.
I can understand it to an extent, but sort of critically slamming it, a movie that had been created years before it happened, I can understand why they may actually say it might have failed or got a limited release. But with the critics slamming a movie, I'd be like, creating a movie, and just as it was about to be released, something happened that the movie sort of has a similar theme to. You can't criticize the movie for cash. So I can understand the limited release because of the time, but I can never understand the critics slamming it for that because it's not as if they they're basically using that to publicize the movie.
It could be just the politics of the time, the political tides, the emotional vibe of the time could have had an impact on how the critics behaved.
Yeah,
because if they came out and praised a movie like that around that time, and they wanted critics that wanted to keep their good name or make a name for themselves, they would probably be worried maybe of being accused of being insensitive.
I see. I can understand. I can see that, but to me, the fact is a critic who changes his review based on other external factors. You can still actually review it and actually say, unfortunately, it's got the gun violence, which at the moment it shouldn't be released. They should have held it off for a while. However, the movie itself is a good movie or whatever, but slamming a movie based on something out with it, that's why I don't listen to critics, because they have got the gender out with, so they'll know say something if they think someone will take offense to it. To me, a critic will tell you what the movie's good or bad, irrespective of who created it, what it's about. The movie itself should stand on its own, and a critic should criticize it or critique it, shall we say. That's why I don't really listen to critics' reviews. I listen to, I suppose, reviews of multiple sources, and I make up my own mind based on what they've said and what they've said in the past about certain things. So if I see a bad critic if I see a bad critic review of it, I just think about what's politics are behind it. If I see a good one, I think what politics are behind it, because I don't trust the reviewers at the moment, or the critics at the moment, and I've not.
But not only that, but even without a political motive, everybody is different. We're all individuals, and some people, some films that we love and absolutely adore, somebody might just not get it, and just think, oh, I didn't like that film at all. I don't know what you saw in it. So I think because we're all individuals, the critic is going to be an individual as well. And even though they're supposed to be using an unbiased format, they're still going to imprint some of their own personal views and reactions.
When it comes down to it, a critic is reviewing it based on their likes and dislikes. So I can understand that, because sometimes I'll like a critic's review on something because they say, I don't normally like slapstick comedy. However, I liked a Mouse Hunt, for instance, which is very slapstick, and I like it. I like Mouse Hunt. I like Lee Evans anyway, but I can understand somebody who will come out and say, this is not my wheelhouse. However, it kept me, or I really like these type of movies. That is why I watched it, and I really liked it, and it sort of fitted that. Or saying, these are the type of movies I like, but this one just didn't hit it. But if they come out and say where their bias is and then give a review, then it seems like an honest review of how they perceived it. But when everybody comes out with the same stuff, or they review it, and you think those reviews are tanking because of not the movie, of things out with the movie, that's the part.
You can easily tell the critics, so to speak, when you read the same wording, the same lines. It's basically copy pasta of the original, and I usually put those people. It's like, okay, this is the guy that tells everybody else what they need to tell. So I don't use block list, but it's essentially for me, even though I don't block them on Twitter, I just go, that's a person that tells everybody else what to tell everyone else. And I disregard completely their opinion, because they have their own idea, right or wrong. They have their own idea, and it's like they want everybody else to agree with them, and I just skip that. But with Boondock Saints, you do have unfortunate timing.
Yes,
very much agree with you there, but it's still a fantastic story. Yes, it's violent, it is brutal, but it's still a really great story.
Yeah. But that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. If they change their critique of it, they can actually mention that it's unfortunate when it was brought out, so they don't think it's going to do as well. However, the story is good. It's just unfortunate of the timing. So they could give an honest review of it and still acknowledge that it's not a very good time for the movie to come out due to circumstances out with their control. I can understand if when they deliberately tank something because something happens and they don't want to be seen to glorify that. So that's the part I don't like. That's why critics, when you see things that you know is political and they all seem to give a high score or a low score depending on what side it's on, that's why I don't really listen to critics, and I haven't done for years. Before all this all started, but
you take it with a grain of salt, don't you? You just have to sort of.
Yeah, definitely. And yes, Captain, we are not into the chat. And I can't do Mr. Brown a license voice or accent.
The little scene stealer.
Yeah.
Oh, I can hear them.
Aye, that's them. They're going running because I think they think they're getting something different.
Oh, treats.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, let's go, Brandon. That's true. I heard that. The Fauci, the documentary, got 92% critic score and 9% user score. Is that really a surprise? Because at the moment, to me, the critics are completely out of step. If I see something that's got 92% critic score and 92% user score, then I think something's weird's happening. If I think so, if the users and the critics both give it either a good or a bad, then it's a weird movie because both sides don't know what to make of it. But that's the type of views. If I see a view like that, then to me it's a crap movie because the user view is more relevant.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's just weird. But then again, Rotten Tomatoes is Rotten Tomatoes have clearly paid off. I was going to just say crap. They're basically Rotten Tomatoes. They're called Rotten for a
I've
reason.
seen that proven over and over again with other things.
Yep. Hi, Darius.
They still do. As much as I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes, I still think the balance between, hey, critics say this, viewers say this.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives me a balance. And if it is like critics says, 2%, and viewers, your average Joe is saying 98%. Okay, I might have to watch that film.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. So if, at the moment, just if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, if you see something which has got high critic score and high user score, to me, that's a weird movie. Because it has to be a weird movie because usually the critics and the user reviews are polar opposites. There's very few ones that they're in lockstep with, and it's usually when it's a way out there, it doesn't fall into any category. And that's the ones, I suppose, that I would enjoy more, I think, because they don't fall into a category.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But
so when it comes to Boondock Saints,
I think it's
it is an over-the-top violent film. It's not a gangster film. It's not a criminal film. It's not even a detective film, if you really drill down to it. Where would you actually place it?
I suppose a vengeance. It would be a vigilante film to an extent. But that's the point as well. The vigilante part of it, normally a vigilante one has got a trigger that causes it. Yeah, I still can't find where the trigger was in this one. Yes, the Russians came into their pub and it seemed to trigger it. But
the Russians came into the pub and basically said, we're taking over this pub because we want this land for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then the argument, then they had a pop at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even at that, when the Russians came in, the barman had said, we are going to be closing because the Russians have bought up the land, so that is it. It's the fact that the Russians just came in and says it's closing now.
That's true.
Which didn't really make much sense.
My name is Ivan. You will be closing now.
Yeah, that part didn't make much sense considering the whole building was theirs and they were going to get it at the end of the month just for a few days extra. It just seemed crazy. But that's what I'm saying. That it doesn't seem much of a trigger to set up them off going after the Russian bosses and stuff like that.
The trigger comes a little later because the Russian is indeed picking a fight with a couple of drunk Irish and an Italian monster, if you want.
Yeah, there obviously is a bit. That's why the Italian mob, Papa Joe.
Yeah, but it is the fact it is the follow-up when they raid the Irish people's flat, domicile, whatever you want to call it, because it doesn't really look like a proper apartment. It's like two mattresses, and there is a toilet in the corner. There isn't much, as you can tell that these guys aren't rich.
They're squatting in an old factory. So they've got a room in a factory and they're squatting in. Yeah, but it just seemed, I suppose the trigger just didn't seem to actually be there for me. That was the only point, because you normally have a trigger. You look at Death Wish. Charles Bronson's one was his wife and daughter got murdered and raped, and he basically his anger and his frustration at the police couldn't get anything sent him out, which you could appreciate why. But in this,
I would say in Boondock Saints, they are a lot less concerned what the police think.
Yes,
because you do get, just after the initial, shall we say, the trigger event, where they do kill the Russian and mob enforcers. But after that, they do show their intelligence. They do show off that they can speak multiple languages. They're well educated, but for some reason they sort of live in, I wouldn't say squalor, because squalor is like, oh, I have no better. It seems to me a chosen place, because they're happy enough.
They have a code. They have a code. They have an honor code.
Yeah,
because they're dressing well. They go to church. They pray. They're devout Catholics. The whole thing.
They work hard. So
they work hard too. That is very true. So it doesn't seem to me that this is the best they can have. It seems a choice.
Yeah, it's definitely not a movie that could be made nowadays, based on the fact that right at the beginning with the girl in the slaughterhouse, when
did you know back in the 1900s you could have it's like no that's
yeah, but it was the fact
other unfortunate
and then Hitler one punched her out, and no, that would never happen in a modern movie. Never.
I will give it to the lady though that played that part, because she definitely looked like she can take a punch.
See, the thing is, when he punched her, I was expecting her to sort of go and then back up and go, really? And bump him back, and then they would all be friendly after that, because they realise that they can all take a hit without actually getting really angry about it. But it's just unfortunate. It implied that they get sacked for that, just obviously because that happened, and suddenly they're walking down, then they're in the pub. It sort of implied that because he punched her, they get sacked, even though she kicked him first. But then again, you don't know if she gets sacked as well. It would have been better if you see the three of them leaving the work while it was still, everybody else was still working, or they just sort of became more humorous because she could take it as well as give it out. That would have been a better, I think, that for that part of it.
Yeah, I agree.
But even so, and I actually fully agree that it would be fun if they actually became buddies, and she may have been like the third party of the shall we say, the avenging duo or whatever.
No, even if she would have been one of the ones that they would have gone to, and then the police came here and no, I don't know where they are, and they're sitting in their back room, that type of thing. She didn't need to necessarily be part of it for that. She was just became good friends with them. I think it would have been a better way. But whereas now, you couldn't get a movie with even that scene in it. Even all the other parts in it, you couldn't get the bit where they're in the strip joint and Rocco is basically touching up the girl. Hey, what are you doing? Oh no, I'll tip her. That one, that was just.
But she's dead. How would you tip her?
He was so funny though. He was obviously the comic relief. You know, he was really funny.
And it was just actually, it was one of those ones that you could see when he's standing there, he's got giving it the looking down, and you could see in his head, going. Doesn't matter about the violence that's happening all around me. I know what I'm interested in. But it was just...
if there happened to be any sensitive person just watching, I'm just going to have to apologize on behalf of all men around the planet. Boobs are just amazing. It's just a fact.
I never need to anybody to apologise for my feelings. That's the thing. I don't care what other people think.
Yeah, but I know there are sensitive people out there, but
that's their problem.
That's not so amazing. I'd rather stare at boobs than at sunset.
See, the thing is, to me, that's other people's problem, because I don't get annoyed when women want to actually stare at a man's crotch, the Chippendales and all that. It doesn't bother me, because why would it? Why should it? Yeah, I mean, the Chippendales were a big thing for a while. Didn't bother me. It's just one of those things.
Well, we do have an amazing British film being envious of Chippendales called The Full Monty.
The Full Monty, yes.
And I love it. It's not my cup of tea, literally watching naked men prancing around.
Yeah.
But I love the comedy.
I like the comedy aspect of it, but
it's a very beautiful, sensitive film as well. I mean, it's a powerful film. It's got comedy, but it's got a lot of pathos, and you know, it isn't like just gratuitous.
Yeah,
it's all part of the story and part of the characters' lives.
They're all signing on and they're all dancing there because they hear the music and there's a smile. I like it, but it's not.
The one scene I really like is the plant manager obviously trying to still pretend that he has a job and can pay for his garden gnomes and everything. And during one of the interview, and it is with horse, so he's like hiding behind the newspaper, and I think it's Carlisle saying, "Gentlemen, the lunch has landed," and he's just like holding down just to see what's in front of him. I think even though you do not, as the audience, ever get to see what it is, you get a very good like image transference or whatever it's going to be called. Because I think that scene is really, really great. You are being crude, but you are being as modest as you can without really saying what you are saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is what amazing cinematography is about.
Yeah. I was just noticing Darius in the chat is saying you could never do the tell me a joke scene today either.
God,
no, definitely not. And I was thinking the same thing when I was watching it. I was just like,
did anybody know who,
I'll have a Coke then.
Yeah, does anybody know who? I noticed them straight away, unfortunately, but does anybody know who the underboss, the Italian underboss is?
I do, yes.
He might have a slight reputation on the adult websites.
Yes,
he does indeed, yeah.
Ron Jeremy, the man who can double over and fellatio himself.
Oh, gross! But
that's
in
what
the wiki,
he became known as, Ron Jeremy.
Well, I didn't recognize him like in the film, but I was reading the wiki page after, and I saw the name Ron Jeremy, and I was like, "Why is that name like weirdly familiar?" I've seen him like, was he in the news? Was he like a Gary Glitter character or something like that? You know, and I'm thinking, what was he famous for?
And I looked him up, and I was like, been in the news lately. Caught up in some
but basically, the porn king. He's done thousands of pornos, but in effect, he's actually been in a few movies. So he has been in a few movies. But the unfortunate thing is, I recognise him, and I don't know where I come from.
but the thing is also with this film, this was made in the 90s. Shall we say, the bad stuff that is being reported about him now, true or not, it's like 23 years later.
Yeah.
So this is what I don't like about it, the whole like blame culture. Oh, you have to cancel absolutely everything. No, he's doing a fantastic role within this film. Okay, he's being a little bit creepy. He's being really, really weird.
Yeah, but that actually is what's needed for that character to be able to justify what happens to him in the film later on, and it gives that extra,
Yeah,
you know.
it does. He needs to be that type of character because there's certain aspects of it wouldn't work if he wasn't creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they tell me a joke. There's the boss turning around.
I only retell that to people I know are fine.
It's one of you. Oh, so you're the funny guy. Tell me a joke, and you're sitting there. It reminds you of the scene from Goodfellas. Oh, I'm funny, am I? How am I funny?
Yeah.
How can I make you? You can just imagine them going,
Yeah.
oh, that type of thing. Or you make the boss laugh, and he goes, right, tell me another.
And you can see like the blood draining out of his face. Yeah, it was.
But in this one, it's such a fantastic. And spoiler alert, in case we have sensitive people ever watching the stream, is yes, the joke is brutally racist.
But the thing is when he's telling the joke, it's the other people telling him to say the word, and he's just going,
and it's a reflection on how horrible that person is.
Yes. And yes. So you get the gist that these are really bad guys. But the actual real joke is he managed to tell these bad guys that could kill him. They're his bosses. They could do it like, oh, we're going to take you out and shoot you in the head.
Yeah.
But the fun part of it is, oh, you told us a really funny joke. Now tell us another.
Yeah.
And that's where the actual joke really is hitting in.
Yeah.
And they play on that a couple of times, like when he comes in as Jafar, the waiter, and he's meant to be the backup, and they've got him. I'm the funny guy. I'm the funny guy. I'm the funny. He just keeps saying, "I'm the funny guy." Don't shoot me. I'm the funny guy. They call me funny guy. It's almost a case of, honest, you don't need to shoot me because I witnessed this. Just because I'm a funny guy, I mean, if you've got standing there with somebody who's just murdered 9 people, and your only defense is I'm the funny guy, it's not really much of a defense. But he still keeps repeating it, and it's almost a case of his mantra.
But that entire, it's not even a scene; it's an entire set.
Mm-hmm.
And it has, for me, one of the greatest dialogues ever. And I won't say the first thing because you and me, PJ, we did have a longer discussion about what 13-year-olds, 15-year-old, 18-year-old ratings of movies are. But it ends with, that certainly proves the diversity of the word.
Mm-hmm.
And it is such a great description because Jafar, or Rocco, is such like wild panic state that he can't express himself, but he really do through the dialogue actually express the entire situation very aptly, although he's basically using one word.
And that's the thing. It just goes to show, and it's got that part of realism in it, because no matter how tough you think you are, if you end up in a position where your brain just locks onto stupid things. Like his is obviously, I'm the funny guy. It makes zero sense in the scene, but you can just imagine somebody so terrified that they don't think they're going to get out of it. They just lock on one thing to try and.
Well, if one thing I noticed, and tell me what you think, but that character, he doesn't come across as the sharpest pencil in the box, shall we say. So that's his fallback. He makes them laugh. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
So that's how he's loyal, Yeah. And the reason that he breaks that loyalty throughout the film is because of what's done to him, which he, which he feels like, they've just used him as they've laughed at him, but not in a good way. They've taken the mick
not as
and
the funny guy.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't really appreciate him.
They're not laughing with him; they're laughing at him.
At him, yeah.
He's the funny
but
guy.
Up to that
he's
point,
the jokes.
Up to that point, he's incredibly loyal. You know.
Yeah.
So it says a lot about his character, I thought.
Yeah, it did, because you even look at the part with in the strip club. They execute the guy they want to, but they've decided that the two guys either side. So what did they do? They just let him shoot. Here's the guns, you do it, and he gives it the bang, 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 and it gets cocky and crosses the.
This is where I don't want to go above the PG rating or PJ maybe rating, but it's like the swapping of the gun. Wyatt effing Earp.
Yeah,
I love and the character we haven't really talked about that is absolutely fantastic throughout this film is Decker, the detective.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
The way he's piecing together what's going on and how it's going on and how he's getting frustrated that they're always one step ahead of him.
Paul
Because it's
Smecker,
not it's not the giant like serial crusher guy. It is he's getting the correct like information, that the evidence that's left behind. He correctly assesses it, but he's so frustrated that he's like 2, 3, 4, 5 steps behind it. Which is something we're gonna touch on later when it comes to there was a giant firefight. And it's like, no, it wasn't 6 guys, it was 1 guy.
One guy with 6 guns. That was the one part of the movie I just thought, oh, it just didn't look right. Because it looked visually when Billy Connolly opened his jacket and he's got the 2 guns here, 2 guns here, and 2 guns here, and he just pulls them out. That looks fine. But when he he threw them down and then he goes for the guns here, it looks a wee teeny bit clumsy. But then they didn't show him try to get the guns up here, because he would have had to get his hands up here and pull the guns out, and it just looked too much. It just looked,
again, can you fault this film?
That's the
considering when it was done for being like, okay, it wasn't visually perfect. It's still the idea. I have a guy with 6 guns strapped to his chest, and he's just like machine gun, machine gun, machine gun.
But that's what I'm saying. Visually, when you look at it, it looked great, but it didn't look good when he was trying to draw the next ones. Because obviously, once he drew those ones, they didn't show him drawing these ones. You just saw the guns getting thrown away. It pans over to the shooting. Next thing, it comes back and he's got the other 2 guns in his hand, because they obviously realised it would have looked a wee bit silly trying to get his hands up and out and to draw them. But that's what I'm saying. It looked visually okay at that point, but it looked a bit clumsy as he was trying to draw the guns, and that's the part. I would have preferred if he had the gun sort of sitting around his waist, so he had the 6 guns there, rather than had them up his jacket like that. That was the only criticism I had of how
practicality aside, 20 years from now, when I start to get, I'm ginger, I will never really get a gray beard and whatnot. But 20 years from now, when I start to get a little bit grayer, I would definitely cosplay Billy Connolly in the Boondock Saints.
Just call me Billy.
Do you know what that scene that you're talking about, where he's got the gun strapped to him? I think that actually makes him look even bigger than he is, and he's a tall guy. But I think that's worked for that reason, because even if they weren't, mechanically, it was harder. It would have been harder to get the guns out that way. It still worked really well.
It looked
for him, because it made him look even bigger.
Yeah,
because you have to be a big guy to have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 guns sort of strapped. I just had a cat.
Are your pets misbehaving then?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It did look visually stunning
Fantastic.
when you look at it. It's only when you see him going from the first set to the second set of guns, it looked a wee teeny bit clumsy. That's why they sort of cut away when he threw the guns down, and then the next time you come back, he's got the next set of guns out of his top holsters because
which was a smart edit. Yeah.
it was a smart edit, but it was at that point when you see him going for the ones that were slightly in the middle, and he goes to, you see it looks a wee bit clumsy. But that's what I'm saying. That considering that was only criticism because it was less practical, but it did look stunning when Billy Connolly throws open his coat and there's all these guns.
You see, you get caught up on that area of it. My love for that, shall we say, set, not scene, the set, is Smecker. When it comes in, it's like, what's going on? It's like I figured him out as like it was like a toilet bowl that smashed the first one. This isn't real life. This is shit you see in James Bond movies. It's like you don't fall through the ceiling with a rope and like shoot everybody. And he perfectly describes them. But when this scene happens,
my Walther PPK BB gun.
Oh, nice. But when it comes to this one, this is the first one Smecker can't actually analyze.
Yes.
There's so many factors going back and forth. And I love the fact that when he goes up and like sniffs the blood, trying to like figure it, it's like, what the heck is going on? It's like he's panicking and like falling into the rose bushes. But just fortunately enough finds that finger that got shot off from Rocco.
Yeah.
That is the whole set from the start where Billy Connolly comes in and it's just like pulling guns from his chest, like firing like a machine gun. Absolutely amazing. I do agree. Practicality is like you're not pulling guns like this to like try.
But that's what I'm saying. But it looked visually stunning, but it just they went for the visually stunning over the practicality, and that's the only criticism I have because it did look stunning when he actually throws his jacket open and there's all these guns. I'm trying to think the movie. It was knives. Basically, somebody threw their jacket open and it had all the straps with all the knives on it, but they were all really at hand. So the knives were up and down here, and it was a case of just pulling them out and throwing them. It wasn't the old Street Fighter one, was it? There was a move. It more likely some Jap. It would have probably been a Chinese one.
No, it's not the Street Fighter one. Although there is a similarity, I think, in whether it's the cartoon or the live action.
No, it was definitely.
I do recognize the characters say they have like hundreds of knives, like people, and just like they're not even going like pull it out. It's literally they can take it straight from the chest and just.
Because they're actually sideways on, so they're literally pulling them and throwing them. So it's not a case of they're pulling them up and out; they're just literally sliding straight out. So they're all in such a way that they're easy to get to, even if they're higher up. The higher up ones are sort of angled down, so it's almost like a rib. So as he's moving up, the ones at the top are angled, so he's literally it's smoother. I remember that. I can't even remember the movie it was in, but it was they threw a jacket back and there's all the knives. It could have been a Chinese one. It's more than likely been a Chinese one because I do like my Chinese martial arts movies, and it's probably something along those lines.
Yeah, I recall the one you're mentioning. I know I've seen it. I just can't tell you.
Because you can imagine
it was very practical because it wasn't like I have to pull the entire sword out and get ready to swing. It was literally like just flicking stuff off.
Old Boy. Because remember the bit with the original Old Boy movie? He's got the pram, and as the guys are coming up, he just pulls out bits of the pram. Wherever he literally pulls out bits of the pram, and it's another sword. So the handle is like two daggers, and then the long parts of the handles he pulls them out, and it's two swords and stuff like that. It's like that type of thing. But you can imagine, like the Billy Connolly comes in, And they'd said that the two guns sit like that we'd need, you imagine they were slitting down at an angle, so he just literally leans up and pulls them out rather than having to pull them up now. It would have been a slightly, just with that slight different angle. But considering that's the only type of criticism I could have of it.
That's pretty good, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's still
that's impressive for PJ.
Impressive because sometimes I do
I'm going
notice
to have to jump off camera for a few seconds, but we'll ask you this question before I jump. Did you recognize Billy Connolly when he was rolled out of prison?
I did.
Or when he's stepping out in the street trying to stop our heroes? When did you recognize?
See, the problem is I recognise Billy Connolly because I've been watching Billy Connolly since he had a beard longer than me, and it was literally he was on Parkinson. I've been watching Billy Connolly from doing his big banana feet. So I recognised him straight away. So
I wouldn't have recognised him had I seen this film back in the day, but I recognised him instantly. And as soon as you even, I mean, the very first time they put the camera on him in the cell, I'm trying to remember because I know eventually they bring him out and they put him under this huge cage to protect all the parole board members. But even before that, they were approaching him in the cell, and you can just tell because he's such a tall, big bloke, and the gray hair and everything. And I was just like, that is going to be Billy Connolly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just the way he was perfect. There's some movies where it takes me a wee while to recognise someone who's very famous and they've got a lot of makeup on, but you usually can spot them sort of straight away. Like you look at Benjamin Button, right? The only reason I mention that is because I watched a review of it the other night. When the wee old man sitting there, unfortunately, I recognised who it was before because I hadn't seen the movie, but as the review was talking about how Ring Me the back, I recognised who it was before they got to the younger guy. And it was, and yes, the makeup can do so much, but there's certain things like the eyes you can spot a mile off. But with Billy, unfortunately, I recognised him because it's Billy Connolly. You can't actually stay in Scotland and actually recognise Billy Connolly from most angles. Because it's basically I've been watching him literally since he was probably in his 20s when he started hitting the scene and actually got on Parkinson. Had the LP of Big Banana Feet before it went on to tape, before it went on to video, before it ended up on YouTube.
Cool.
With his early stuff, I had the videos of Billy Connolly, so I did.
What was fun was before I watched this, I didn't comb through Wiki or IMDb too much at all. In fact, I hadn't even touched the Wikipedia page deliberately because I wanted to see it as fresh as I possibly could.
Same here.
And that moment, where you see Billy Connolly for the first time, I was just like, yeah, this just got really good, because
and I must admit, before I saw it, I didn't know Billy Connolly was in it. They actually tell Saturday when we were talking about doing it, Jim had showed us that picture he had, and that's when I recognised Billy Connolly, and that's when I first realised Billy Connolly was in it. But because I didn't recognise the movie when he showed us that metal picture he's got. But
it was cool because you had that great surprise then when you saw him.
I didn't recognise him in that, but when we were talking about it, and he says Billy Connolly, and then I thought, yep, that's Billy Connolly, all right. And that was after the one they did, the man who sued God, or was that before?
Oh, that I don't know, but you can definitely tell, even in this artwork, you can tell that is Billy Connolly.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when the man who sued God was. So 92 was the man. When did do the man that sued God? I can't see it there. There's a Boondock Saints, or was it before? No.
Even so, he was
the man who sued God. It was actually 2 years later.
It's like
Yep.
I saw the film completely unknowing. I knew none of the characters.
Well, 2 years before he did this,
Norman Reedus and the others. It's like Norman Reedus
I
is
recognise them, I must admit. And Defoe, you basically can't actually not recognise him. But this movie was Billy Connolly. He had done 2 years prior to it. He did Mrs. Brown. And 2 years after it, he did The Man Who Sued God. He did obviously a load in between those ones because he'd actually not stopped really working. But two of the movies I remember him in, Mrs. Brown, he did in 97, and The Man Who Sued God, he did in 2001. So I thought this was actually after The Man Who Sued God.
Still, I love me a good Billy Connolly live show.
Yeah. Oh, Billy Connolly. I mean, I grew up listening to Billy Connolly. That's what I'm saying. I had the LP, Big Banana Feet and stuff like that.
MC in the chat has said that as well. He said his dad had the gatefold sleeve vinyl of Big Banana Feet. Yeah,
that's it. That's the one my dad had as well, and that's the one that I grew up listening to because my dad was a big fan. Billy actually obviously worked in the shipyards, whereas we were basically builders, so we understood a lot of humour, and it being Glasgow humour as well. We understood a lot of the humour, so we grew up with that. And so, yeah, I mean, I was a teenager, I think, when I first heard Billy Connolly.
Well, the humour from Billy Connolly is not lost on even people speaking foreign languages. Yeah. He's very good at what he does.
Yeah,
he's really good as an observational. And I will say this, that there are several different type of comedians, so comedy acts, but he has a very good, astute, like, I see the situation and going, why the hell are you doing this?
Uh-huh. But even things like when he was on Parkinson, right? He had, there was other celebrities, I would say, but I mean, you had who used to actually do the dog stuff, walkies. I can't remember the older woman. She used to actually do dog training, and he had her in knots because as he was talking, she was sort of looking and just sort of smiling here and there because obviously she didn't understand it. How he stood out in a crowd, he was like a fart in a spacesuit, and she nearly fell off her chair because she couldn't stop laughing. It was just one of those things. Whoop, it's just obviously it caught her because all the other humour, it was sort of went over her head because she didn't understand it because obviously she had a better class of living than Billy when he was younger. But even at that, it just sort of crossed those boundaries. She's sitting there. Barbara Woodhouse. She used to go sit with the dogs, and she was a few years later. Somebody had recorded her, and she was slapping the dog while she was training it, and it basically her career tanked. As if that's what she does with every dogs, but it's one of those things. Is they catch her with a dog, it actually just ravaged her or whatever. You know what it's like. Sometimes if the dog bites you, you might lose it, which you shouldn't because dogs don't know better and you have to train them properly. But she was seen smacking a dog and it ruined her career because she was the one that trained dogs. So it's not Barbara Woodhouse, or it might have been Barbara Woodhouse, but he had her and she was sort of smiling because it all went over her head until he mentioned that he felt like a fart in a spacesuit and she nearly fell off the chair because it just literally caught her. And you could just see her sort of try to control her laughter. Yep, Barbara Woodhouse. Yeah, it was. But
even though I do not condone
Billy Connolly, Mike Martin, Jasper Carrot, and Dave Allen.
Dogs sometimes do require a really firm
smack the nose. Basically, a smack in the nose is basically just the reason they say a smack in the nose is because you don't need to smack them. You just, because the nose is sensitive, you tap.
It's a tap.
It's a tap in the nose.
it may look like a full-on like hard smack, but really it's like a.
You need it's a tap in the nose with a dog. You basically, it's the same as anything. If you go overboard, then you have lost it. That is it. Doesn't matter what.
Yeah.
But,
and by the way, I won't like too many dogs in my life. I would say I can't really recall the number of dogs I own.
I grew up with dogs.
You need to be firm with them, and you need to establish the rules. But if you go too far,
then you lose it.
In your disciplinary, like, okay, you did wrong now. This is like, you do not poop here. You do not do this thing here. When you show them what's wrong, if you go too far, even if you're not hurting them, even if you're not hitting them, if you go too far, they do not understand because you went too far. They do not understand what you're trying to train them.
It was the same idea. Like, I grew up with one of our dogs was a half boxer, half bulldog, big beastie thing. Basically a big kid, really, because obviously he got brought up in a family with kids, so he got added to it. But he would get out of the house and he would run all over the place, and we'd be chasing after him, going, come on, Buster. And he wouldn't lift. My dad would lean out the window and say, Buster, upstairs, and it went. Because guess who was the alpha dog in that pack? It certainly wasn't us. We could shout after it all we wanted. It would just look at us and have to say, yeah, watch me. As soon as my dad opened his mouth, up the stairs, and it would just sit there. Do I get my treat now? He got pat and head.
It is the balance you have, even with cats. And people don't say it, but I know the joke is you can't train a cat, but you can really train.
You can train anything.
Even
as men, you can train us all.
Yeah, but especially us men, we really easily train.
We react to treats.
Saying nothing.
We react to treats. So we do.
Oh, we're not trying to throw you under the bus here, Wendell. But
saying nothing.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
If there's a smile on the man, that usually means
hungry.
We're happy to comply with whatever the request is.
Yep. But MC says Billy Connolly, Mike Harding, Jasper Carrot, and Dave Allen. I've got Dave Allen, Jasper Carrot, Billy Connolly. I don't have any Mike Harding stuff, but I grew up with them as well. And I've got some of the videos for each of them. I had Billy Connolly's world tour of Australia and his world tour of America in the bike. I had those. I've got a couple of stand-up. I've got a couple of Dave Allen sit-downs, because obviously Dave Allen used to be a stand-up comedian who sat with his glass and his cigarette smoking away on screen, which he gave up. But I've got a load of them. I like those. Those are all great comedians to grow up watching.
Yeah, I recall Jasper Carrot, Dave Allen. He is obviously, me being more global. I like Australian comedians. So say Steve Hughes. If you haven't seen his
Kevin Bloody Wilson.
Yes, that's another really good name. Yeah. I do like it. Hearing different parts. Sometimes you do not understand what you're trying to make fun of, because it's kind of localized. What they're trying to take mick of. Dilligaff. Would you like me to like expand on the abbreviation it is?
Do I look like a giver?
Do I look like a giver?
Dilligaff. Yep, he had a song about it. I've got a lot of Kevin Bloody Wilson. I've been watching. I saw Kevin Bloody Wilson's first UK Glasgow show, and he called me see you next Tuesday, shall we say? Because he basically was standing there doing his thing. This is the very first show in the UK, and he did one of the first ones was in Glasgow. And I'd convinced my friends to go and watch him because I said you really like him. So he asked for me. So he started singing Santa Claus. And me and about 2 other people at the other side started cheering and singing along, and he stopped. And he says, "You see yous next Tuesday. Have been pirating my stuff because it's not available in the UK yet." So we got caught. We got caught. And I saw his final show as well in the UK, in Glasgow. So he did. And I've seen his daughter, genitalia, is his daughter's stage name.
Oh my God.
That's Kevin Wilson's daughter, Jenny.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah, I saw her. She did a show with Kevin when he did his last one. But I'm a big Kevin bloody Wilson's fan. I've actually got the T-shirt with the road show. It's actually got Kevin Wilson at the front, and it's got all these last stuff in the back. So I love him.
Speaking of collectors collecting different things, I've noticed again on the wiki page for Boondock Saints, there were a number of DVD releases apparently, including an import on the 13th of March 2001 and an uncut Japanese release.
Ooh.
And the uncut Japanese release was published by Toshiba Entertainment, whose special features include an anamorphic widescreen, audio commentary, trailers, and interviews with the Japanese media. But then the one that sounds really intriguing is on May 23rd, 2006, a collector's edition was published and released by 20th Century Fox on DVD, as well as UMD for the PlayStation Portable. The special features include English and Spanish subtitles, commentary by Billy Connolly and Troy Duffy, deleted scenes and outtakes, as well as the film's original trailer, cast and crew filmographies, and a printable script of the film. That is
you're just giving me a lot of stuff to hunt for, because obviously this film is one of that I presented to you and say, have you seen it? You said no. You said, okay, let's have a look at it. We kind of like
it's brilliant.
I wasn't aware that there's that much.
There's the original Japanese poster, mini poster, a tenner on eBay. So it is.
I'm gonna be so broke.
And
it's like still like what 3 weeks to payday.
Yeah, there's obviously Blu-ray as well as DVD. But I saw a pop figure there.
A pop figure?
A pop figure, Funko pop figure. Connor McManus there, it's there. Number 181 in the pop Boondock Saints.
Oh my goodness. They do their research with those pops when they come out with those, don't they?
Right, there it's there.
You guys know I need to save money for Christmas. To like give my friends.
There you go.
Something.
Connor McManus.
Nice.
So
if he's out, you can guarantee the other one's out as well.
I was just going to say we got to have the other ones as well. It's no good having just one.
Connor and Murphy, 181 and 182.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It looks like the Boondock Saints. It's only the two of them. It's out for it.
I'm gonna have to apologize to my friends. It's like they're not getting anything for Christmas. I'm taking it all for myself.
Well,
the next 5 years.
Yeah, that looks. I think that's £14 on eBay. So
that's not bad, really.
It's not, and also with the postage, you're talking about £17 for a Funko. It's actually not too bad.
Still, I'm gonna brag about the display. I'm not sponsored by Display, by the way. Full caveat and all that. I just like the fact that you stick a magnet to the wall. I can swap this image for that image, like 2 seconds.
I watched you before when you were putting it back, and I thought you just snap that back on the wall.
Yeah.
And then I remembered you said something in the past. You had like a magnetic system. That is cool.
Yeah. It's just a magnet you stick to the wall, and because this is plate, just go.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
It does. It looks really cool.
And because everybody wants to be eco-friendly, for every one display that you do buy, they plant a tree.
Very nice. If you can drop the link for them, either in the private chat.
Yep.
Very.
Do you recognise who one of the brothers is?
It is two famous actors, actually.
Yeah.
But Norman Reedus is the biggest one. He was mainly known
the biggest
for...
one. Which I never watched it. That's why I didn't recognise him.
Oh, I recognised him. Yeah, I was a big Walking Dead. I watched it from the very beginning, so I was just like, ah.
Now you need to get a Funko of him, one with a crossbow and one with a pistol with a silencer.
Oh yeah.
Very close. Whichever he really has.
They also do Funko reactions figures. Wait, you see this one? This one's 20 quid. These are more my style. Wait, you see this one?
Oh, that's cool.
So it's the 6-inch figure. No, it's not. It's 3 3/4 inch figure. So it's about the size of the stormtroopers. So it is. So I'm assuming they'll have the two of them as well. But there you go. They have actually different types of figures to collect, Jim.
You guys are destroying my Christmas already. Just something like that.
Yeah. It's 3 3/4 inch.
But what I would like is Smecker.
Yeah.
Because I think he is by far the best thing of the film. Even though he's supposed to be technically against the heroes of the film, he's supposed to be the bad guy. He's so brilliant in absolutely everything he does.
Even the stupid part when he was in bed with his boyfriend.
You're jumping ahead of me. You're jumping ahead of me because I'm going to go like, spoiler alert, Smecker is gay.
But the thing is, it's as you said, it's a 22-year-old movie. So, spoilers. But it's still, I must admit.
But there's never been a strong gay character ever in the film.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Unfortunately, we did have Paul Smecker 20 plus years ago. Yep. He's strong, he's intelligent, he's capable. He's actually very capable of what he's doing.
Yeah.
There's nothing to fault about him. Go ahead.
What I loved about the Smecker character is that he has a really interesting arc, because he does start out as the smartest guy in the room. He's the Sherlock. He comes in and he just looks at a crime scene, and he can he's got all of his different methods. He's sort of very Sherlockian in that way, because the modern Sherlock,
his headphones on and
he's got his music on, and he sort of gets in the zone. And he's got his little tricks, that he does to engage his brain. But he starts out as being so sure of himself, because he's obviously had an illustrious career. He's so smart, and he thinks he's so smart. And then as the film goes on, he's starting to question
as that scene perfectly displays.
He's being faced that he's just never encountered before.
Yeah, exactly. As that first scene where Billy Connolly comes in the 6 guns, it's like, there was a firefight. It was like 6 shooters, and he's so certain there was 6 shooters, not one guy. And this is kind of like the redemption arc. I keep getting his name now, but he's the guy that kept sent off like
the donut guy. I call him the donut guy, but it was.
But he actually hits it right. What if it was one guy with 6 guns?
Was it Duffy or Dolly or Greenlee?
Greenlee. Greenlee is the guy, yes.
Yeah.
But you're very right there, when it's like his character is like he's coming in really strong. He's on the ball from get-go. And it's literally the start. he figured out exactly what's happened. They weren't serial crushed by huge, massive. It was like a toilet being smacked from like Thor. There may be flooding, and the next crime scene. You don't see this shit in real life. It's like a James Bond movie when they actually fall through with the ropes and everything. It's like this doesn't happen in real life. He's spot on, but then you see it's like it's taking a dip because he's up against such amazing, shall we say, criminals. I'm not sure how to describe it.
The criminals
are.
He's up against criminals that are so maniacal. That word that I'm trying to say, my mouth doesn't know.
Maniacal.
Maniacal. That's the word. He's up against criminals that are so maniacal that even our logic brain just can't work out exactly what's happening because it just didn't make sense. I've came across a poster which is a Rocco poster.
Oh, cool.
Aye, I like this one, I must admit.
Darius in the chat did also pick up on that. It is like that was the one thing that Greenlee did pick up on.
Yeah.
But it is kind of like a broken watch is still correct twice a day.
Yeah.
A blind hen can still find a corn, whatever the expression you want to use. So it's more like a lucky guess.
I like that poster, the Rocco poster.
Yeah, that is cool. You don't normally see that too, because you see them usually in the front.
With Billy Connolly as well. If it's
so obviously, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but mine is still best.
I'm not denying that, but it's an unusual one. That's all I'm just meaning.
No, it is still gorgeous, and I like all and any, shall we say, fan art around such a good film.
Yeah.
Because, well, okay, if we're going to be brutal, they smack feminism right out of the gate.
Yes.
Because of the over-the-top lady that they meet literally on the first day of work. They are, well, shall we say, they're actually fairly protective of the, shall we say, the softer or weaker gender or whatever you're going to say. But they are...
well, they don't harm women or children, do they? That's their...
No, exactly. And they kind of judge Dreddy in a certain way. It's like, it's the bad guys we want. Especially if you listen to the very, very end of the film. It's not your sick or your weak that we seek out.
Yeah.
It's the evil within you.
Yeah.
And if you continue your wicked ways, one day you will find us behind you.
Yeah. I was going to say, MC says, the Murphy McManus Funko is £48 on Amazon. However, on eBay, there is one, it is £12.50 plus £15.50 postage in the States, or 14. So you're talking about £30. One without a box and one with the box, it's damaged. £30.
You might as well get the 48 one, yeah.
Yeah, and that's because they're posting from the States. The corner one you can get for about between 20 and 30, depending. But the Magnus one is there's the same again. It's all from the States. There's no UK ones that are decent prices. It is absolutely shocking. However, the 3.5-inch figures, the Magnus one is £22, whereas the corner one is £16. Why there's such a difference between the two is unusual.
But you see, I did the right thing to present this to you, because this is why I love having joined this group. I gave you a film I really loved, and you go, it's like, hey, there is actually a universe around it. There is like Funko Pops, there's toys, there's all. I mean, I was surprised to even find this one.
Yes.
It was like, wow, there is someone else appreciating a film I really like. Then it's an obscure film that most people miss, because as it was, the the shooting, the current climate, politics, whatever. So it didn't really get the big boost, but it was like, for me, a lucky find. I was like, I really like this film. It's funny, bit violent, but I'm okay with that level. But again, if someone doesn't like violence, I can understand that you go and say, okay, this is not a good film for me. But the comedy that runs through the entire film,
but see, the thing is,
good.
Anybody that's going to enjoy an action movie, it's got violence in it. It's just the different levels of violence. It's not to the point of Tarantino gratuitous violence, but it's also not down at the A-team, nobody's getting hurt violence. So it's in the middle there, maybe a wee bit higher towards the Tarantino, but it wasn't. It's ultra violent, but it's not gratuitous violence.
Yeah, but it is true. It's definitely above boss level. But if you take any current Tarantino film, it's definitely below all of them.
Yeah.
The thing for me with the violence in this film is that it sets the tone of the film without taking away from the film.
Yeah.
It's needed. It's needed to convey that time frame and that world, and it does that perfectly without,
Well, you look at things like other gangster movies, Goodfellas. How violent was that?
Yeah.
You remember the bit with the guy in the boot? He got basically stabbed and shot and everything like that, just because he woke up when he was getting taken to get buried. Ultra violent, but it just seemed over the top gratuitous. Even the bit where the young guy who was laughing, you're going to take that, and he just shoots him and just keeps shooting him. And you see, it's just a young guy just gets blown away just because that guy was a psycho. But to me,
if you compare that to shall we say, where they really set the tone of the violence, it's literally in the beginning of the film, where the brothers are, shall we say, play fighting when they're working at the butchery.
Yeah,
it's like he's getting smacked over the face, and then he's taking the revenge, but he's taking like a chicken wing and just like smacking his brother playfully. It isn't like, I was like, I'm gonna kill you. It's like more smack, 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 smack. But it's like it's more of a humiliating layer to it rather than.
The thing is, violence is in modern cinema. Violence is only extreme under certain circumstances. Hence the reason you've got similar to horror. You can have a horror movie, as in Frankenstein, Black and White, Boris Karloff. You can have a horror movie like Friday the 13th. What one's the most gratuitous violence? None of them. You look at things like Ash v. Evil Dead, very humorous, but it's blood and guts all over the place, and or The Thing, which is psychologically it's over the top, the puppetry and everything like that. You've got all different levels, and I think that sits in somewhere in the middle, maybe a higher end of the middle, but it's not too violent, but it's not too comical violence as well. And I think that's why it works, because of that. It actually sits right in the right point. It doesn't go to one extreme or the other. It doesn't go A-team. It doesn't go Tarantino, The Thing, Ash v. Evil Dead, gore fest. And I love Ash v. Evil Dead because I see it as what it is. It is a schlock horror.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So, but it is, if you compare it to things like Halloween. Halloween is a psychological one, it's very scary. Ash v. Evil Dead isn't very scary, but the blood and guts and gore certainly outshine anything the mainstream put out. So I think the Boondock Saints sits in the middle. It's not overly gratuitous violence, and it's not comic slapstick violence. It sits where it needs to sit, right just near the middle. It is violent, but it's not. you imagine the same movie getting done now, when the two guys are standing there over the guy doing the prayer and then firing. What is the TV today going to show? They're going to show the face getting blown out. Whereas that one, they didn't. They showed the aftermath of the events.
Yes, exactly. And this was a character-driven piece as opposed to the violence-driven piece. The violence is secondary, but it's part of the storytelling. But it's the characters, it's their relationships to each other and their story arcs that make it entertaining. And the violence, of course, is, works within the storyline.
Yes.
There's something interesting. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say with the Sons of Anarchy and Banshee, yes, that is a lot more violence in them. And to me, that's actually a lot more gratuitous violence because they're trying to make it real. So you see the people getting beaten, hit with a car jack or something like that. And it just goes a wee bit OTT sometimes because they're trying to make it look more realistic. Whereas this one, I liked it because it didn't go over the top. You saw the aftermath, but you didn't see the event. As I said, you didn't see the bullets coming out the eyes and it's splatting all over the camera, which you would see nowadays. Because
which could be the follow-on from, say, a Tarantino film or something like that. But if you judge the violence in, say, something like Sons of Anarchy, which is a show I absolutely love, I think that's fantastic. And if you take the stalker story within it, which happens within the first seasons, it's like, that guy really had everything coming to him. Whatever happened to him, there's I don't think there's anyone on this planet who was like, no, that guy needs to go.
Yeah, but see, I watched the first part of Sons of Anarchy, and I just couldn't get into it because it's the same again. I don't want too gritty, I must admit, because I like my.
Then that part I can understand because it is an ever downward. Sorry to give a spoiler. I won't give specific scenes away, but I will say it's a constantly downward spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the life they choose to live, it's always going down.
Yeah, some of my favourite actors and actresses were in it. Katie Seagal, come on, Peggy Bundy.
I love her.
Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman. Yeah, I mean, so there's some really good characters in it, but could not get into it. The reason I wanted to watch it was because Katie Seagal was in it, and I just could not watch it.
She was a lovely surprise for me in that one. And it's like, for me, she was married with children.
Exactly.
That's what she was to me. And then
I always see her as Peggy. I must admit.
She's literally coming from like left center or whatever it is. It's like she's like that rugby linebacker that is just like smacking you from nowhere.
It's the same as Ed O'Neill. I see him as Al Bundy. I've seen him in the Wayne's World.
Oh yeah.
I've seen him in what's that other one? The new one he's in. Well, it's not new. It's more recent. He plays the uncle.
Well, it's new compared to Married.
Yeah, he played the uncle, and I just couldn't get into that either. It just didn't do anything.
Still, it's a sign of a really good actor.
The
actress, whatever you want to call them.
Katie Seagal's amazing because she went from being Peggy Bundy to being the queen of the Sons, as it were.
Yeah, the queen of the bikers. She was vicious.
And that's brutal.
I've never seen that, so
I've only seen bits of it, and I just couldn't get into it because she definitely wasn't Peggy Bundy. She's
definitely not Peggy Bundy. But I will say this: Sons of Anarchy is definitely worth a watch.
Yeah,
because it's basically Shakespearean in its tragedy.
It didn't.
But unfortunately, I'm spoiling a bit. Unfortunately, I'm spoiling a bit that they try to make it better, but there's always and at all times someone making it worse. it's not necessarily their fault, but it is because of the life they choose to live, they get faced with ever increasing badness.
Mm-hmm. And Katie Seagal goes from being Peggy Bundy to Mrs. Ted Bundy. Let's put it that way. She is
Accurate,
such a
yes.
good actress that she can actually switch in a dime. So she can. It just wasn't my favourite because I could understand why it was so good because of the actors in it, and they were so great, but it just didn't fit my taste. And I was a biker, so it just didn't. I don't know.
I will give this, and I know we're supposed to be talking about the Boondock Saints, but when it comes to Anarchy, it is that it was, it is a show that actually features real life criminal. I can't call them criminal because obviously I do not know them, but real life Hell's Angels bikers, whether they were former or current or stuff like that, they actually have them as actors in the show.
Basically,
so,
what they do,
they're telling real life stories of what happened. Or
with programs like that, that's what they do. They go to a couple of biker gangs and say, listen, as long as you keep the peace on set, we will pay you X amount, but we want your stories and you want you to be extras because you are the... And they'll go, you mean no fight with them for $1,000 a day? Aye, okay then, no problem. We'll fight with them next week after we've been paid.
You'll find that's actually what the show really is about. It's about, we need a little bit of money. We need to save money for this, or we need to get some cash together for that, and whatnot.
Instead of renting bikes,
one person I really liked, aside from Opie in the show, I loved Opie, but Ali Walker, that did the psychologist or something, she was amazing as a really evil FBI agent, because she is trying to do her job, but she's definitely going over the top.
Well, as I said, I'm lost already because I didn't watch much.
Well, I will say it gets really interesting when she gets blended into the mix.
Yeah, it's just, but if you like that grittiness, it's the actors in it are great. You've got Ron Perlman. It came off of Hellboy, and you do not expect it to be so scary. You've got Katie Seagal, who came off of Married with Children. You don't expect her to be so scary. It's literally things like that. You're getting people they're taken out of what you expect them to be, and they're such great character actors. They actually work, but it just
I will definitely say give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
I know you. I'm not gonna say, watch to the fifth episode or like the second season. I will say give it a shot. If you still struggle by episode 3, quit it, because it's not for you. It's definitely not meant for you. But
yeah,
I really, really love it, and it has some amazing twists and turns as it goes throughout the seasons. The actors that we talked about, Ron Perlman, Katie Seagal, Cunningham,
Norman.
I keep forgetting Norman Reedus. He's not in it.
Yes, is he not in Sons of Anarchy, Norman?
No, I don't think Norman Reedus is in this one. But there is the guy that plays Opie, and you'll find some very sympathetic characters. It's like, I would want to know where they're going. Not necessarily what's happening to them, but where they're going from where they are. But this is also the one time I would say, if your kid is not 18 years old, they should not watch this. There's plenty of TV films, shows, whatever. I would go, it's like they've been rated 18. I would go, it's like, no, I think a 12-year-old can see this perfectly fine. But Sons of Anarchy, age 18.
I'm trying to think who I'm thinking of. It was in Sons of Anarchy. It reminds me of him.
Norman Reedus, as far as I recall, was never in Sons of Anarchy.
No, but that's what I'm saying. There's one of the ones in Sons of Anarchy. It just reminded me of him.
Oh, it's the Irish guy with the scar on his face, which he got in like a Glasgow pub fight when he was like a teenager, but managed to somehow become a Hollywood celebrity.
Don't know. I'm trying to actually think. There was one of them.
Hey, Cam.
It could have been the one that plays Opie because he's got a very similar features to him.
You see, Opie is like 55 feet tall. He's like a really, really tall guy. So he's definitely.
I mean, he basically, as the Scots say, he's like a brick shithouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I love Opie, especially the Opie story.
Hi, Cam.
MC seen it. Opie is definitely ace.
Yeah. Sons of Anarchy went to Ireland. There you go. I didn't know that one.
A slight spoiler alert. They need to acquire a few things, and the story takes them from California, and they have to smuggle themselves, the entire MC clan, to Ireland. And they actually go to Ireland to do the filming. I will say, was it the best? For me, it's kind of like Babylon season 5. It still belongs, but it is.
It can be taken out. Not actually. You wouldn't actually miss anything. To me, that's what season 5 of Babylon 5 is. Basically, you can take it out except the last episode, and you wouldn't miss anything.
Well, it's the best way I can say about it without giving spoilers.
The only thing I could say about season 5 of Babylon 5, the only thing you would miss is Tracy Scoggins.
Oh, yes.
Easy on the eyes. Unfortunately, not allowed to play as great as she can be.
I know, but she played it. She played the sort of hard-nosed new commander, but it still allowed her to play the sexy diva at one point because somebody had nicked her image and for their holosuite type program. So she got stoating around with the sexy gear on, and she got to be the hard-nosed commander in the same episode.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to give a reply to MC in the chat here. They did go to Ireland to do a little bit. They didn't do all of it because obviously production values or whatever it was. But yes, they did really physically go to Ireland to film a few things, not all of it. Especially the final, shall we say, between episode 3, if I remember correctly, episode 3 and 4, do the action scenes and
you can guarantee they took the bare minimum who they needed to do, shot some external scenes where it had to be shown in Ireland so they could show them at certain landmarks, and then the rest of it was done in the States.
But in their defense, they did bring in some. Well, I didn't really check out the actors and actresses behind it, but they were really like the thick, heavy Irish accent. So it's like, you would understand that this is meant to be Ireland, even if it might have been like a green screen or whatever behind it.
Yeah. But then again, they get some good American actors with good Irish accents. You look at Burn Notice. There's certain parts of West.
No. Fiona is never
not Fiona.
Ever going to be Irish.
That's why I didn't mention Fiona. The one that played Michael Weston. He did a decent Irish accent.
But that was part of his job. He's basically the modern version of MacGyver.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. But considering you don't always get ones who are meant to be from that location doing an Irish accent, and it doesn't work. 33 and a third. You know what I mean? But that's the type of thing you get. It's like Mel Gibson doing his Scottish accent. Morag, I love you and I want to marry you. It's not a Scottish accent, boy. It's that type of thing. It's you get people who try to do it and they do a barely passable job, but sometimes you get
Still, I'll take Mel Gibson over a lot of actors that have pretended to be Scottish.
Oh God, aye. But the thing is, you can get bits and pieces where it works and bits and pieces. It depends on the speech they're doing. Like William Wallace is 7 foot tall and shoots
Yes, so I've heard. And he shoots lightnings out of your eyes, and
it's not out his eyes; it's out his arse.
Well, I was trying to keep.
Yes, but the thing is, that sort of worked with the accent he had. But the part when he was trying to be a wee bit more soppy, Morag, I love you and I want to marry, it didn't work because it's certain things don't work because you need to have that understanding of the cadence of the language. So actually doing a battle one, it's a different cadence, so it works a bit better. Whereas if you're trying to be a softer and it just, you need to be fluent in it.
But I know we're supposed to be on Boondock Saints here, but when it comes to as external, non-natively English-speaking individual, when he's being firm,
yeah,
for me, the firmness that quite well lands, and I'm saying that as someone who had lived in the UK for now 20 years. The firmness, when he has to apply firmness to whatever his command, his request is, that to me sounds quite Scottish.
Yeah.
Not perfectly Scottish, but quite Scottish.
Yeah. Of course it doesn't sound big, but you have to actually give that. It's the same as, let's say, David Tennant with his non-Scottish accent. He gets away with it a lot easier because he's not got a very broad Scottish accent. So when he's speaking normally, his accent's not broad. It's not a broad Scottish accent. I don't have a broad Scottish accent when I'm speaking properly.
Well, you're more Glaswegian to me. I'm not accusing you of anything.
No, I'm born and bred in Glasgow.
I'm fortunate enough that Edinburgh is like a 20-minute train ride from Glasgow.
Yeah.
When I've spoken to people like the countryside of Scotland, that is extremely milder. But if you go to Glasgow, and I would recommend, it's a gorgeous city, by the way, but when you come to Glasgow, it's like, the fuck did you just tell me? It's like, it's super thick.
You're talking to a Glasgow born and bred, but that's what I'm saying. I don't have a strong Scottish accent when I'm speaking normally. If I forget and I let go, I have a very broad Scottish accent. But I've grown up working internationally, so my accent isn't as strong as it could be. And it's
that is my experience as someone coming from very outside and in. And I've been to Edinburgh, I've been to London, Inverness, those places.
Stayed up in Inverness, and it's lovely, and the accent's dead simple. The problem is,
gorgeous place. But in Glasgow, I cannot, for the life of me, get the burger at McDonald's.
See, do you know what to do? See, when you're actually listening, try slowing down what they're saying. That's the problem. It's not the accent, it's the speed of talk.
It might be. I went to Glasgow because my buddy was studying at the university there. I was like, let's go into McDonald's. I was like, a couple of cheap burgers, a Coke. What?
Oh, you want a couple of cheeseburgers and a Coke? That's no problem. You can just get that anytime you want.
No, it was literally
literally
that. And I had been in Scotland at that time for 2.5 months. Inverness, it's called Lerwick, the northernmost point that you can actually go to.
Thistle. Lerwick, you're thinking about, you're talking about Wick.
Yeah. But I've been around. So I had like the Scottish like brogue. Well, I thought I did, but I'd never been to Glasgow. And I thought, okay, Glasgow and then go home. So stay in Glasgow for a couple of days and then go home. Even tourist guide that took me up the like the Gothic graveyard.
John Knox Cemetery.
Yes,
That sounds cool.
It's a very gorgeous place. If you can ever go, it's absolutely gorgeous. Unfortunately, it's a bit run down, but it's really gorgeous, very Gothic. But even the tour guide that took me up there, I could not understand a single word she was saying. I'm certain she was speaking English. I just couldn't understand a single word the lady was saying. And that's after 2.5 months in Scotland.
But see, the thing is, the Scottish accent, there's about... I stayed up Inverness way, just past Inverness. I stayed up Knowlness. That went over the Black Isle, and I used to work as a waiter and just at the bridge at the Black Isle. There was 3 towns on the Black Isle within 10 miles of each other. When they came into the restaurant, the girl who stayed on the Black Isle had to get me to talk to them because she didn't understand their accents. Yet the 2 villages next to hers were less than 10 miles apart, and she couldn't understand their accents. Me being from Glasgow, I could understand all 3 of their accents because to me they didn't sound any different.
You see, that's probably why the issue is like everyone in Glasgow can speak for the rest of the country, whereas the rest of the country is like, we don't know what's going on.
But the thing is, the Scottish accent is a misnomer. It's like saying an English accent. Name an English accent. Is it a Liverpudlian accent?
I live close to London. If I take a loop around London, I understand like the villages around.
Yeah, but that's
like literally retrain my brain.
What would you class
moving like 5 miles?
But what would you class as an English accent? A Geordie accent? A Liverpudlian accent? You know what I mean? A London accent? A Cornwall accent? And they're all in England. That's what I'm saying. The Scottish accent is a misnomer because there's different areas have different accents. The difference between myself speaking and not Brian Young, we don't stay too far apart, but his accent is different from mine.
You see, you do not have an accent, as we already agreed on.
I don't have an accent.
Your Scottish version, shall we say, of English, your Scottish version of English is not difficult to understand.
But that's due to training because I work internationally, so I find it. I had to calm down because I used to teach in used to do IT support and teaching in a university, which 90% of the students were foreign students. So I had to moderate my language because if you're speaking to someone whose English isn't their first language, they have enough problems understanding colloquialisms rather than accents.
That's a tricky thing I find because English is technically it's my first language now because I've been living longer in England than I've been living anywhere else. But I work in a global company. Understanding the Indian accent when it comes to IT speak.
Yeah.
Understanding the Chinese, the Australian, the American, the South American. It is having the patience to like, okay, it sounded like they said it wrong, but okay. So I'm speaking to people from literally 6 different time zones, and then going, oh, that's what you meant. This is what I need to fix. This is what I need to help you guys with.
Yeah. It is that, and as Let's Go Brandon says, there's a lot of good YouTubers. Critical Drinker is one of my favourites, I must admit. But even his accent isn't a strong accent.
No.
It is a simple
I'm not
like,
going to throw shade over Critical Drinker here, but for me, he's a fake Scotsman.
No, but he's not.
But it's not because he may not be
He's
Scottish.
He's got a natural Scottish accent, but it is basically moderated. I think it's because
it's a very clean.
Yes, it is. But I think that's to do with the fact is he is obviously an author as well, so language is thingy. So I think it's to do with that. So he's got his drunken persona, and then he's obviously got his standard persona, which is more clean cut and understandable. So if you listen to him on somebody else's stream, very clear, very understandable. When you listen to his "Go away now," it's a bit more coarser because of the drunk aspect of it, but it is still very clear. And it is obviously designed because he knows that if it was not clear enough, no matter what his accent would be like, just people want to tune in because they need to understand. It's like, for instance, if you say, "Where do you come from?" "I come from Glasgow." Yeah, might have a Scottish brogue there. But if somebody from Glasgow asks us that, "Where you from?" "I'm from Glasgow." Slightly different, and it's not just to do with how you speak. It's actually how to do with the colloquialism in it. Yeah, I mean, "I'm from Glasgow" is dead simple. "I'm from Glasgow." But if you want to see someone doing a really good interpretation of Glasgow, Stanley Baxter's Palyama Glasgow. It's on YouTube. So he'll give you some words and he'll explain them in very explicit English. Stanley Baxter, Palyama Glasgow. You should watch and check and search for him. He is fun. And that is 1980s, maybe late 70s, early 80s. He did that and it is hilarious.
Okay, I'm going to have to break in here just a quick moment. I'm going to have to love you and leave you both, just because we've got a bit of an early start tomorrow.
Yeah, I understand that because, listen, Saturday, we'll have to do a stream a bit early because I need to be away from here before 10.
Yeah, we may have something on that day, so I'm not 100% sure. But what I was going to do is just drop you a message.
Yeah.
We'll sort of have a chat about that and see if we can all agree like times and things like that to see how it goes. But yeah,
I think I can cover a little bit about that. But Wendy, this whole early evening thing, the only thing I can say as a Scandinavian is, how dare you?
But I understand
I fully understand, and thank you for being part of this.
Yes,
and I'm really pleased to have given you a tip for a film that you said it was really, really good.
I absolutely loved it. I loved it, and it's gonna be one that we are gonna acquire, and that will be getting a rewatch definitely.
I think it's really getting a rewatch from me because I've had it for a while and it's literally sat there.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm officially a fan of this film. Definitely.
I definitely love it. Considering the only criticism I had was something silly. To me, that shows how much I enjoyed it. If I could even actually, because when I was watching it the first time, no problem. I watch it while I'm working away, busy, and normally I sit down and with my let's dig it any wee bits out, because even if it's a good movie, there's always going to be something that annoys you. And if I only picked up one wee thing, I enjoyed it that much higher. anything else that could have annoyed me just was unimportant enough because the enjoyment just dragged me straight in. And I think it's definitely something. But Wendy, thank you very much for joining us. It's always a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much again for having me. And thanks to everybody in the chat. Fantastic chat as always.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll catch you on the next one.
Good night.
Take care, both.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So, Boondock Saints, we'll go back to that. We'll ignore all this Scottish talk, but never mind what we're talking about, just going with what we're talking about with the Boondock Saints. So, the Boondock Saints is a recommendation from Jim. I hadn't seen it. I had it for a while, but I hadn't seen it, and I watched it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it makes me wonder why it wasn't on my playlist prior to the recommendation. A 1999 movie. Billy Connolly was fantastic in it. However, the one that stole the show, and I cannot, was William Dafoe. Is it Dafoe? Dreyfus? I keep on going, but it's thing with Dreyfus. He was in Jaws. William Dafoe was absolutely superb. He, to me, stole the whole show. He was fun as the FBI profiler, Paul Schmecker. Obviously, with Shane Patrick Flattery and Norman Reedus. I'm terrible with pronunciations. I thought the two of them were fantastic as the brothers. Billy Connolly was great, and so was Rocco, David Del Rocco. That you said that was actually written for him. Wendy says that was actually written for him because he was a friend of the director, and the part was written deliberately for him because he's a stand-up comedian. He was really good in it. I don't think there was any in it I thought didn't work.
Well, this is the bizarre thing about the film. It's not a long film. I think it's an hour 40 or something.
At 140,
it makes
another
use,
40.
It makes use of every single minute.
There was
nothing forwarding the story or giving you some insight to the characters.
And even parts you could think is that's a waste of time. It's not, because, like, for instance, at the beginning, when they were trying to get into the room with all the Russians in it, they're crawling around the air conditioning, and they're going down, and they turn around because they've gone the wrong way, and then they realise, and then they have to go back and turn around.
You have your brotherly fighting scene there. It's like,
yes,
it's like, what you do?
That's what I'm saying. But that wee bit, you could have thought, well, they could have gone in there, and then they could have messed around and then fallen through. But it didn't. It had to be that part because it showed that they had no idea what they were doing, constantly getting lost because they didn't think, they thought it would be easy. So the fact that they kept having to turn around because they were going the wrong way, and then the fact that they actually fought because of that, which led them into falling down and succeeding.
Yep.
I'm saying, so something, it seemed as if it was just time wasting, wasn't. And that's what it was. That's why I enjoyed aspects of it, because you're sitting there thinking, this bit seems to be going nowhere, but it doesn't. It's a lead up to something else happening, which says, yeah, I can see why they did that, because they needed to do that. There is no.
But you also had the Paul Schmecker part, and this is where I think the strength of the entire film is coming in. Is Paul Schmecker, William Dafoe.
Mm-hmm.
It's when he comes in as the detective, like, what the heck really happened? And he's going, it's like, this shit doesn't happen in real life. This is James Bond freaking movie.
And they make jokes of that. Like, for instance, Dafoe comes in and says, these aren't the professionals, this type of thing. It's TV, it's causing this.
Yeah.
And it's bad TV causing this, as would be.
But for some reason, for, shall we say, our heroes, it really worked. And that's what makes it like it hooks you deeper into it's like, okay, I really want to watch the next stage, the next set part of the film. And one thing, and unfortunately Wendy has escaped now, but one of my favorite scenes is the one with the cat. Yeah, I kind of left it like that because I knew you were going to laugh too. It's just like, it's so surprising. It's literally like a shock surprise at that particular scene because you do not expect it to happen. But suddenly it is like, this bastard is just like smacking his hand on the table, and accidentally the gun goes off, and well, the cat is history. Sorry, guys, it's a spoiler, but it's one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen.
It certainly spoiled it for the cat.
Yes, it certainly did. But it's like the reaction to it, but they just don't drop it at that. It's like an accidental, okay, this happened, let's brush it over. They actually build the next couple of scenes following up on that. It's like, tell me the pussy's name, you crack out, blah, 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 and he's pointing guns. I'll blow my brains out if you can tell me the name of the cat.
Yep. I couldn't tell you the name of the cat.
No, I couldn't either. She's just lucky guessing, as you can tell. But it's still like, wow, that's cleverly written. It's very horrible. It's very sad.
It's something it basically shows that you can't mess with guns. So, like me, who's Jesse Buckley?
Your thoughts on Jesse Buckley's Scottish accent?
I don't recognise the name of. I must admit, I'm terrible for that. But Jesse
It's
Buckley,
vaguely familiar.
I recognise the name. Jesse Buckley. Jesse Buckley, actress.
Irish lady.
I've never seen any of her stuff, I must admit. She was in Fargo, the TV series. I never saw that.
I liked Fargo, but I liked Fargo with that Swedish actor. He's in Armageddon. Peter.
Jessie Buckley, Glasgow, no place like home. So she's obviously from Glasgow. She's a Glasgow lass. Jessie Buckley is Irish, is an Irish singer and actress who came to second place in the BBC talent show themed I'd Do Anything. She played in a few miniseries, but
I definitely have to look that one up, especially because I know how epic our chat is. They're also on the recommendation.
Yeah.
I will say this though. Sorry, chat. I do have a massive backlog list, but I'll nudge this one up and see if I can take 5-10 minutes to watch it.
Yeah, and Cam, yes, going to be a grander in April. Yeehaw! My oldest is actually pregnant, and I'm going to be a grander. First time grander. I know, an old geeky grander. So I'm looking forward to it.
You do know what this means. You have the perfect opportunity with zero responsibility.
I've always
corrupt the youth.
I never corrupt the youth. I just actually encourage them to be geeks like their old. I taught my 3 daughters to be geeks like your old dad. I'll teach my grandkids. Be a geek
I'm sorry, I do not see how that is not corruption.
That's not. No, corruption is telling people not to like geek stuff. That's corruption.
No.
See, I haven't seen
itself in many ways, but I do agree with you. The whole thing, you can't like this because they didn't have the correct T-shirt clothing on or whatever it was.
But I honestly, Jessie Buckley, I haven't heard her Scottish accent, but because she's Irish, her Scottish accent shouldn't be too bad, just for the simple fact is, it's got the Gaelic cadence to it, so it's a lot.
It'd be more Edinburgh for me.
No,
as external, it would be more Edinburgh, because Edinburgh is softer.
It depends what part of Ireland, because you've got Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland accents, and the two of them are different. So she's from County Durham, Tipperary, I think, or something like that. She's went.
If I'm going to be brutally honest, if I want an Irish lass, I want her to be Ireland, not Northern Ireland. I want her to be from the really green part of Ireland, because they do have some lovely girls.
Oh, and did I tell you, I bought a new T-shirt. This one is my I'm Not Old, I'm Classic. I've got another one of these I'm Not Old, I'm Classic for my channel, but I got one. It says, "Get Granda in Training." So I can be an old git now. I can be an old git now. Yeah. I'm
sorry, but mine this week is a little bit disappointing. It's Will Riker's beard trimming equipment. So it's basically number one from Star Trek The Next Generation, his beard grooming kit.
Yes, I'll just stick with my beard grooming trip by actually going to get somebody else to do it. But I need to get the beard so the grandkid can go.
No, you don't want that, because in case you forgot it, and I'm speaking as a non-parent, the wee tiny toddlers, the grip they have in their hand is like Superman, just like ripping your whiskers out of your face.
That's okay. I grew up with, I had 3 daughters, so yeah, I'm aware. That's why I went bald. But
hey, you don't want to go bald on the underside.
No, that's why the grandkids, you can go like that, and then they can't actually leave because they want to stay with their granda. You see? Thought.
So it sounds like you have, I wouldn't call them evil, but it's plans for your future grandkids.
No. The funny thing is, my 3 sisters, older sisters, and my young brother are all grandparents, and I've been slagging them for years, saying, "Still no a granda." My younger brother has got 3, and I've not got one, and I've been saying for years. Now I can turn around and go, "Okay, I've joined the club." But I'm going to.
You do know eventually this is going to mean that your Christmases are going to be more expensive.
Oh, I'm okay with that. I am okay with that, because guess who's going to spoil? You want to see what I bought my grandchild?
All right, surprise me now. And don't show me something I want, because I will steal it from you. Peaceful.
Now that is a gift for my grandchild. Be a boy.
That is definitely a gift. I will say that I'd really like.
I saw that one of my friends had a baby just before the pandemic, and I had bought them a gift, and I got them that. I liked it so much, I bought one to put away, because I knew eventually I would be a grandparent. So that's my first gift for my first grandchild. Sitting there already. Yes. I
will say it's very geeky of you, because geeks tend to be prepared for what's coming down the line, especially the ones that play stuff like Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering. They know there is stuff coming down the line. Right. We are getting ready. Oh, come on.
Dungeon Mayhem, right? Look at the cards, right? Wait to see the cards in Dungeon Mayhem. Right, the counters, right? There's the counters. So very kiddie friendly. Wait to see the cards.
Wait, is the adult version as well?
Right.
It's upside down, but yeah.
Dungeon Mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very easy to play and very kid friendly.
I like it.
I'm already prepared. I'm going to be the geekiest granda out there. And I'm going to be happy because see all this stuff here. 90% of it they can play with. Just don't break, but they can play with. But just don't break. Don't touch. Just look. Just watch. But I've got all the Disney movies. I've got animated Spider-Man, Batman, Hong Kong Fooey. Oh, I've got loads. Wallace and Gromit. I've got stuff that the kids will love.
You see, I was even though I'm not on the path of like fatherhood, grandfatherhood, I realize it's still a very big possibility for me. But today I was in a charity shop and I was like, it's a children's film. I would not really ever watch it myself, but should I add it to my collection?
It depends.
Just in case.
The way I look at it is, if I would watch it, I will add it to my collection. If I'll not watch it, I don't see the point in adding it to my collection because there's some adult movies I wouldn't add to my collection because I wouldn't watch them. But
what if it's something for the future?
Eh?
For a possibility in the future. So you know that, say, you well, I'm not going to assume gender here, but I say granddaughter. I do not know whichever way it's going to fall, but if it is something specifically for young girls or young boys or something like that, like action Disney or princess story Disney, whatever it is, would you not? Because the pickup price is like 5 pence.
No, see, the thing is, I would pick it up anyway because even when my 3 daughters were growing up, if they wanted to do something, it was they got to do it. So if they wanted to play Warhammer, they played Warhammer. If they wanted to actually get a doll, they got a doll. If they wanted to actually watch certain sci-fi, they got to watch certain sci-fi. I didn't actually, to me, what people perceived to be male or female made no difference. It was all to do with what they wanted to play. So if they wanted to play with a doll, they got a doll. If they wanted to play with an action man, they got an action man. If they wanted to play with Warhammer stuff, they got Warhammer stuff.
Yeah.
Cam
is, by the way, giving you congratulations in the chat.
Yes, I know.
But my thinking was along the line that I do not know what will happen with my future. But if I would ever get kids, grandkids, it was like, I happen to be there. It's mint condition. I would never watch it, but I know that a child would definitely cherish watching it. Would you, in such a circumstance, go, oh, well, it's like, it's 5 for £1. Would you pick it up?
But the thing is, if even they'll take out the charity shop option, right? If I was in a shop and I saw a movie and I thought, oh, my grandchild would love that, I'll pick it up anyway. Even if my daughter says she's not really in it, no, don't be silly. She might not be in it just now, but I'll pick it up because he or she may actually like something similar. So maybe in a year or 2, they might like that. So yeah, I'll pick that up. Easy peasy. But thanks, Cam. I'm definitely aiming to be, I want to be the geeky old granda that they remember.
Yeah, not old, classic.
I'm not old, I'm classic, yes.
Huge congratulations on that. By the way.
Well, I'm over the moon, and that's basically, I cannot wait. I've not stopped smiling since Monday when I got told.
Well, it's such good news that we do need good news.
Yeah, definitely. Because my daughter got married last year and couldn't have a wedding, so effectively they just her and her partner and two witnesses, and that was it, because they couldn't have a wedding because there was no parties or anything like that. So
I'll give them this. Something you can do is it's technically not a re-wedding, but something me and my ex did.
A renewal of vows.
Yes, but something me and my ex did, and obviously you have raised your kids properly. I'm not going to suggest that you nudge them to it because it was costing an arm and a leg. But what me and my ex, unfortunately, yes, it didn't really work out between us. But we did, when we were still together, go to the Caribbean on a Star Trek cruise themed ship.
I've heard about it,
and we renewed our vows on this ship and just absolutely enjoyed life.
If my daughter was going to do anything like that, unfortunately, it wouldn't be a Star Trek one. It would be more like a Harry Potter one or a Buffy.
They do Harry Potter
or
ships
a
around Caribbean as well.
Vampire Slayer, because she is been into Harry Potter since the very first edition. I think she's still got all her first editions of Harry Potter. She's been reading it that long. Her first editions aren't brand new, never been read. Her first editions are dog-eared because
that's really impressive.
The very first one. And she's a big Buffy fan as well.
Yeah, but I would highly recommend it, because you didn't get to have your big wedding. Go do something like that.
Yeah, we'll just have
it won't be as epic. It won't be too exclusive, because obviously we had Nana Visitor like reconducting the like ceremony, the event. So whatever you did after, it was kind of like up to you, but it was still like, this is something very few people really get to do.
Yeah.
So it was more special for us being geeks.
Yeah.
So, but again, she could be anything. A supernatural fan. Whatever it is. So
I'll just spend all that money that I saved on the wedding and all that, and I'll just spend it on my grandchild.
She's gonna be one really spoiled grandchild then.
Yep. And I'm used to having girls because I had 3 daughters. So if it's a girl or a boy, I don't mind. But I'm more used to actually having daughters. So, but either way, I'm going to be that to a grander.
Well, a statistic would say, seeing that you just have girls, that it may be a girl at the very end of the line.
I see my 2 brother-in-laws used to slag me because when I was a kid, they would grow up and go, "You only prove yourself a man if you had a daughter. You only prove yourself a man if you had a daughter." Which I used to laugh at, because my older sisters, they had 1 girl and 3 boys. My second sister had 2 boys and a girl. They were the 2 that kept going, "You only prove you're a man when you've had a girl." So my other sister never bothered about that, so we never thing me, but she had a boy and 2 girls. No, sorry, a girl and 2 boys. My brother had a boy and a girl. I had 3 girls. So I went up to my 2 brother-in-laws and went, 3 in a row, hello. So they used to do it all the time. So I just reminded them by going, it wasn't the first time, last time lucky. It was 3 in a row. So if you did that, so I used to actually slag them for that. And that's what they got for teasing me when I was growing up.
You see, that's what brothers are for.
Of course it is.
They give you, it's not exactly a challenge. So if you look at the Conor brothers from Boondock Saints, they are teasing each other constantly, but they're driving each other forward. So what your brothers was doing is like, okay, this seems more of an achievement, or can you really do this? And you were fortunate enough, you got 3, I'm assuming, I don't know them, so I would say they're probably the best human beings on the planet. I might have slight doubts on that, but
I just reminded them that they were the ones that used to say that and they had one girl each, and mostly boys. So I had to remind them that I had 3 in a row, 3 girls. So if they want to use
but that's perfectly like comeback. It was like, oh, you can't do this.
Yeah.
Because that this is more brotherly challenge. It's not a hostile or like an external force. It's like a brother, someone you know, someone you love. And they go, you just go away, you can't do this. And then you just go, it's like,
yeah,
I did it.
Because I used to always, and then I would twist the knife, as it were, by saying to my oldest one.
That's also very brotherly. Yeah. It's more like Abel and Cain.
Yeah. So the first one I would say, first time lucky, because he had 1 girl and 3 boys. And the second one I would say, third time lucky. You had to stop. You had 2 boys and a girl. So to me, that was all justified, but I'm looking forward to it. And I think I'm going to be a happy chap for a long time now. So I'll stop being a grumpy old git, as one of my friends said, and I'll be a happy old git.
Wait, that's going to kind of like disrupt our streams going forward. If you're going to be that like happy chappy, like jumping on the clouds, we need a little bit of like a grumpy old classic.
Well, does the grumpy old git get me the extra subscribers? Because, do you know how many I'm at now?
I'm just going to guess 126.
Nope. I was at 126 before I went on to the captain's channel. Sorry, I was at 125 before I went on to the captain's channel. I picked up 4 subscribers while I was on the captain's, and I picked up an extra few. I'm at 130 now. I was at 131 this morning, but I'm at 130. So
congratulations.
And
I don't even know when we got started on this stream.
This is our 15th Saturday stream. I think we did a couple. So you're talking about when was our first stream? Live streams and going all the way back. Let's Talk Geeky number 2 was the 4th of July. So number 1 was the
3 weeks before my 42nd birthday.
26th of June was the first Let's Talk Geeky. So it was.
Well, it was well before my 42nd birthday.
Oh, wait a minute. I had also done a Let's Talk Geeky when I did the movies before it was a general talk. So I did the Let's Talk Geeky. That was the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And I did one in Fawlty Towers. I did 2 Fawlty Towers ones before that with the Let's Talk Geeky. So the very first one was Fawlty Towers with Daniel and Charlotte. And yep, and that was on. Where is it? I just see this.
You see, I remember those, and I really liked their commentary. There was fantastic like input from them.
That was the 16th of May this year. That was the first Let's Talk Geeky. Was the 16th of May, Saturday the 16th of May. So you're talking about 5 months, just 5 months.
Yeah, 5 months. That's really impressive, to be honest.
Yeah, and at that time, I think I had 20, maybe about 30 odd subscribers. So that
Well, you will have to add -1 because obviously I'm a subscriber.
I'm a subscriber. I'm my wife's a subscriber. I get basically any of my family and friends subscribe to that. Just tick it, then just don't need to play it. But that's the thing. You have to actually watch, because if you subscribe to something and don't watch it, it gets rid of it. You can subscribe, watch a couple of minutes of it, and then never watch it again, and it keeps the subscription. But if you subscribe without watching something, so your family can't come on, subscribe, and never watch you, or else it will just take the subscription off you. It's to stop people just someone's going on ticking saying subscribe but never watch it. When YouTube are tidying things up, they take ones that have never watched anything at a channel. So if you go on and watch a couple of minutes or something, then you come out and never watch it again, that's fine, because you've watched something when you subscribed. It's a weird one.
This is what I'm feeling bad about. I'm subscribed to Purple Valkyrie. I love her content. She's usually she's almost always really funny. She's really greatly entertaining. But the unfortunate part is I don't clock off work until 5:30, and she streams between 4 and 5.
I usually have to catch it up, but when I get home, I must admit I'm the same. Even though I'm working from home, and I can basically 5 is when I'm technically meant to finish. You know what it's like. I'm basically working away, and then I can only catch up on the reruns, so I can never catch it live. I'm the same with quite a lot, unfortunately, especially even a lot in the States. They're basically their time frame for when they're doing it is either middle of the night here or very early on. So I miss a lot of them. So I have to watch a lot of them on
Friday Night Tights is usually the only show of the big streamers that I can really catch up on, because it's Friday. All I have to do is don't have dinner at 5, have dinner at 9.
Yeah.
So obviously you're really ravenous, you're really hungry, but you do have a lot of good entertainment, just like people talking about interesting things going on and everything. I will say, I wish Nerdrotic was a little bit better on his timing, because he constantly joins late, but obviously appreciates he has his own life.
Yeah, I'm usually actually on with the father on the Friday before Friday Night Tights, but this weekend I'll miss it because my friend's up Thursday night. She'll be there Friday night, and Saturday she's away, and then my wife's away out, and I'm having to go and collect her. So I'll have limited access over the lead up. But Cardinal Sins invited me on Sunday. So
for me, it's no worries. I think this weekend is kind of scramble because I'm trying to catch up with friends, meet them in real life, mask on or off, whatever you want, but it's getting quite scrambled. And even though I went to the charity shops today, I didn't find anything I wanted to pick up. So it's
because I'll not be out and about, unfortunately, this weekend, so no charity stuff for me. None at all. Unless I manage to pick something up on the Saturday when we're actually away out for a meal. It means I would be walking past the shop and go, oh, I'm going to get that. But that's literally all it's going to be, because I'll not have the chance. Next weekend, I am not around at all. Apart from the only person that will be actually anywhere near my computer system is whoever's looking after my dogs, because I'm away for the weekend. Me and my wife are away for the whole weekend. We're taking a holiday, first breakaway since God knows how long. So we're going for a nice wee break.
It's perfectly understandable. I'm not sure if I'm going to post anything. My YouTube channel, if you like, it's not a channel. It's basically what I use to subscribe to other YouTube channels.
Yeah.
But I do have my pirate ship that I'm building. And I can actually, if you give me 2 seconds, I'll actually grab it. It's by no means complete, but it's starting to look really awesome.
Good. Well, shall we go back and talk the Boondock Saints? It is a great movie. I would definitely recommend it. The actors in it are fantastic, and I must admit, MC, I'm looking forward to having a good wee break Now that looks amazing. Hold on, I'll give you the full screen. Solo layout. There you go. It's definitely actually coming together. Still want to see that when it's lit up.
So the electric system for at least the hull of the ship, it's definitely in place. But
yeah,
this is amazing for just being basically cardboard puzzle piecing.
Yeah,
to put together. And if you look at this part of it, it's like absolutely
definitely
gorgeous.
What you should do is, I'm telling you, you should have done wee bits of videos. If you're just even do a wee bit, you think about it, a wee half-hour video, just preparing, clipping it together, and then just showing it as it's building up.
I do have photos, sort of ish. They're quite sporadic, but wait, where's the camera? Oh, so it's that end. But if you look at like the detailing for just being like cardboard fold and puzzled together.
Yeah. It looks really, really good. And as you said, for the cardboard setup, it's going to look amazing. So it is.
But it's been a 3-week project. Unfortunately, it's work. That is like, oh, I don't have the time, and then attending these streams, so I can't really like spend the time to do that. But work's been brutal, so it's like slow down the process. But
yeah, there you go. Cam says it's freaking gorgeous, and MC says progress video. I've been saying that to him since the beginning. MC.
I have the photographs. I just don't have videos. But I do have a few videos where like swooping over the interior, because there's some really nice details that you couldn't see now. Like the steering wheel and like the anchor wheels and everything. There's like they're on the inside, and there's like it's really nice detail. And I'm surprised it's like a 15 quid 3D puzzle.
Yeah,
well, just build together.
Do even a progress video, a video putting. You've got video editing software you can get for free. Put all the pictures in on the progress with the wee videos interclip, and just a wee chat about it as you're doing, and then start doing more ones. Record it. Literally, your camera is right in front of you. Position it down where your workspace is, and then edit the video down a bit if you need to, or speed it up so that people can see it actually going together as you're doing the chat over it. Easily done. You've got the software, you've got the know-how, you've got the equipment.
I just have not had the foresight to really like put the camera in a good position. It's like, oh, I'm doing this again, I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. Because it's surprising. It's like you get like 6 or 7 pieces, and you put them together, and it's like, oh, it's like this tiny ball.
Yeah.
But when you put the ball on the ship, it's like, wow.
Yeah. And just get something like that. It sits, clips, attach your camera to it above your table. Yeah, I mean, literally, that's all I've got for mine when I'm doing my one from above. I literally just clip it to the desk, and I've got the camera above, plus I've got my big camera. I can move that and tilt that down. And so if I need to do something on my table, I've got the camera ready to tilt. And it's literally...
The only thing I don't have that would work really great is an ability to like clip my mobile phone onto it. But what I have is, and I know this is going to sound weird, but in nail salons, they have these massive like magnifying glasses with a circular light. So they point down, they can see exactly what to do. But I'm using it to do my Warhammer, my bundle building, everything. That's what I have. But I should probably mount a camera or a mobile phone somewhere around it. But
well, you should actually see the circle. See if you look at the circle, there's a screw point in at the set where this attaches to your arm.
Yep.
You get a wee part like that which screws in and holds your phone behind it, so it basically it's round your phone. You can actually get them because that's what mine's was. It's got the wee dongle part. It is down in there somewhere. It's literally just about that size. It attaches to the wee screw.
That could probably be something. I'm probably going to have to check Amazon for it because I do have literally like a really nice big workstation. So this shit, as it shows, it's very big. And this is an empty wine bottle, by the way. But this is a wine bottle in comparison as to size of how big this ship is.
Yeah.
So you see, if you get one bottle or you get this ship, it's huge. And I was expecting it to be a lot smaller because I got it because I wanted like a nice thing to be here just to add a little bit to the background. But I realized with the sails and everything, this is just gonna like cover half my background. So, but yeah, it's massive, and there is no glue. This is literally how it ties in together, and it's really firm. It really sticks together.
Well, that's the main thing. I would definitely do the progress one, because if you've got that circular like the same as I've got, there's a wee nubbin in the centre just above where it attaches to your arm. You'll see it's got a wee screw part. You can get the part that screws in there. It holds a camera, and you can have your camera above it, your phone even, or you can actually clip your camera into it. That's what I've got the option for mine's. And
I'll definitely look into that because I like doing like these like cardboard puzzle and everything. And one unique YouTuber I'm following, he's like cardboard box props or whatever, and he builds everything in cardboard.
Look at the 3D puzzles.
That's really nice. That's gorgeous.
It is. Basically, the detail on it is the bits and pieces like the hand and that, they just all clip in once you've built the puzzle. It is great, and it's got the instructions if you don't want to actually. I spent a couple hours on each one, and that was with the instructions. I try it always without, but when I've got if I'm struggling, I always go, right, what's next? But I've got 4 of these. There is another 3 to get, but I'm not really keen on the other ones. They've got Cyborg, they've got Aquaman. I don't really care about those 2. The only other one I want to get is the Batman one. I've got Green Lantern, Superman, The Flash, and Wonder Woman. The Flash is the one that I wanted. Super, so it is. They only cost £5 at B&M, if you still see them. They're basically, they did fly off the shelves. They've got ones that are clear, so you can get the clear orange one, which is Aquaman, the clear green one, which is the Green Lantern, the clear red one. So it's like the clear thing with red, and that's the Flash. You've got the clear blue one, which is Superman. You've got the clear grey one, which is Batman. You've got the clear red, I think it's silver, something like that, which is Wonder Woman. And then you've got the clear, I honestly can't remember because I've not bumped in, I've not seen those too well. They just look darker colours, but they're actually off colour. So Wonder Woman's a red, Aquaman's orange. The Flash it's almost a deep red, but it's not as deep as the Wonder Woman one. The Batman is blue. The Cyborg and the Superman is blue. The Cyborg and Batman are shades of grey because of the thing. But they're actually the ones that are cut. All the different colours are better. I prefer them. But B&M, if you get a chance, have a pop in there, see if you can get them. 3D puzzles, you can spend a couple of hours building it if you not want to look at the instructions.
That's just obviously worth getting it away, but it's been so nice that like coming home, like throwing like the laptop on the couch. It's like, crap, I'm done with work. oh, I got this. Dinner's in the oven. It's 45 minutes. I can do it a little bit of like tweak and tricks and everything.
That's my laptops. 3 of them.
Only 3? What kind of IT amateur are you?
That's my laptops. They're no one thingy. They're my laptops. So they are.
No, to be fair to you, I have 1 laptop, but I have 5 screens.
Oh no, the screens are not a problem. In here, I've got 3 screens alone. In work, I've got another 3. But no, that's just my laptops. It's because we're in the progress of a migration. I've got the old one, I've got the one I'm working on, and I've got the new one, and it's a case of bringing the 2 of them together. So I'm messing around with the 3 of them. So
yeah, I was just smirking, shall we say, when I went to local IT. It was like, I'm gonna need 4 screens plus the one I have, and they just went, "You what now?" It's like, you need 1 screen. No, I need 5 screens, and it's like, there's no way you can use 5 screens. And then they just went, "Follow me, and I will show you." And it's like code running on that one, scanning on this one, compliance on this one, security tools on that one, and developer tools on that one. It's like they're running all at once, and once they complete it, I just need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thumbs up. We can continue.
yeah.
Or I could do 1 at a time, taking 5 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it took. And it's like, okay, that one says okay. That one says okay. That one says okay. So when they saw me just showing them 5 screens, like, I run all of these concurrently, and all of them finish at the same time. Job's done. I did it in 3 minutes, or I could have done it in 15 minutes. What do you think is going to make the most money for your company?
I can't know. With IT, nothing. We spend money accordingly.
Oh yeah, there's always that struggle. Why do we need people that can support IT? It's like you plug and play. You just go. It's like always work. Now there's an army behind you that makes it work at any and all time.
Yeah. No, accordingly, we work in IT, so we're a draining the company. We cost them. We spend money, so we do. Right, come up then. Right. He's obviously wanting to. Right, Benj, come on. Up. Come on. We'll be going soon, don't worry. Come here. Right, you 2 of you can't actually fight over sitting on my knee. I'm getting 2 of them fighting on my knee.
Both of them are fighting. They've been very nice the past couple of weeks.
Yes, they have.
Look at that one.
That's Buddy.
It's like, oh, now I'm here. It's like, oh, keep me here.
He's got his woof on. It's getting too cold. It's getting cold, son, isn't it? Go on, Benj. Up. Come on. The 2 of them actually want to climb up, but they can't climb up without me lifting them up, and I can't lift them up because I've got 1 and I'm too old. There you go, Benj. Come on.
You need to replace the word old with classic.
In my head, I'm no old. In my body, yeah. What is it? My brain.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go. I'm starting to feel that area where, hey, I used to be able to climb these 12 stairs. I'm just going,
it's God, the idea of looking at the stairs you go. But yeah, we'll need to actually be finishing off. That's what I was saying. The Cam, as Mr. Brown would say, the secret to comedy is timing, and I was way off. Yes. Right, Benj, stop it. Tell him, buddy. There's the 2 of them. The 2, believe it or not, 2 of them are the same letter, and they look completely different.
Yeah, very similar, though, I will say. They seem brotherly, sisterly, whatever you want to call them.
Two boys.
Two boys.
Then,
Yeah.
he's a licker. He just can't stop licking anything and everything. Isn't that right? He just can't stop himself.
I can see that. It's like, yep.
Whereas this one here just wants to sit there and just actually annoy me. Sits in front of my keyboard all the time. But anyway,
as long as it's in front of your keyboard and not on your keyboard.
No, it basically always sits in front of it, so I have to lean over him to type. So he does.
But let's round this one off. I know
we'll
there were a few things.
Boondock Saints, even though we started there and we ended up sort of diversion to the side, it was a great movie. It has some great character actors in it. To me, the best one was Willem Dafoe. Hands down, he was the star. Right, okay, all right, I get your point.
Willem Dafoe is up against Billy Connolly.
Billy Connolly was a very close second to William Dafoe.
But Willem Dafoe really do steal the show. Yeah. So if you have not seen
the Boondock Saints,
then I would say just for Willem Dafoe alone, even though the other characters are so great,
yes,
Willem Dafoe is literally like lifting it miles above it.
Yeah. And considering I had this movie for a while and I hadn't watched it, it was not high up on my list. I must admit, I missed out intensely. It is a movie I will rewatch multiple times, and I know I will. What is it? Mm-hmm.
The only thing I wish, if I would say an imperfect thing about it, I would still love it to be a seasonal film. So if you take Die Hard, for me, Die Hard is a Christmas film.
See, my Christmas film is White Christmas. I love that old classic. I grew up watching...
All of the Christmas films are valid, but for me, a Die Hard film, it doesn't have to be Christmas Eve, but just around Christmas, just to watch John McClane.
Because no matter what people say, it is a Christmas film. It is set around Christmas. It was released around Christmas, and it was meant to be a Christmas.
But it isn't a flaw. It's something it just didn't have when it came to Boondock Saints, because it's just taking place at some time in the year. It's placed in Boston. Doesn't really have that kind of thing. There is no reason to regularly watch it.
There's too many movies that you can't put into a category, because you could have an Easter movie, you can have a Halloween movie, you can have a Christmas movie. There's no really a lot other categories you can put movies in for a time of the year. You can have a summer movie, but it depends on what part of the planet.
That's fair enough.
So, yeah, I mean, so
I just wish that they had this kind of thing, because it would probably make such a good, shall we say, it's a cult film.
That is definitely.
It's a classic cult. Like it. Even though it has violence, it's something I think a young teenager would definitely be able to watch. Just like Die Hard.
Yeah, there you go.
Die Hard is like heavy.
Die Hard is set around Christmas, as is Batman Returns, and that's why MC watches them at Christmas.
Which no one ever gets it on the office Christmas parties, because I have a plain T-shirt, a triangular looking Christmas tree, but it says "Welcome to the party, pal, Nakatomi Plaza, 1984."
Yeah, you need to be.
No one ever gets that is Die Hard.
Yeah, it's one of those things people just don't see it. It is unfortunate, but most people don't see Die Hard as a Christmas movie. They see it set around Christmas, but don't see it as a Christmas movie. Which
even
it's the same as me. Like unfortunately, I'm going to miss the Halloween weekend, because if I was doing a Saturday stream on a Halloween weekend, I would have done an Ash v the Evil Dead.
That's all right. We can probably clock in on that one just after, because it will still be the lingering effect of it. But
that's like me. So I would have done the 3 movies. So the Ash v the basically the Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. Maybe even doing the 2 seasons.
Hail to the king, baby.
Groovy. But
I know we're going to round it off in a couple of minutes, but you see, groovy, I did not clock or get from Ash. I got it from a video game called Earthworm Jim. Obviously, name being Jim.
I know Earthworm Jim. No played it. I've not even seen it in years. But I never even got groovy from that. But I know what you're talking about now.
No, but that's where I got.
But it's not necessarily just groovy. It's groovy, baby.
I don't think Earthworm Jim does groovy, baby, but
he does groovy. Ash v the Evil Dead is groovy, baby, groovy. So yeah, groovy is this thing, but it's more thing. But let's see what MC's saying about talking about Ash. And I'm going to use to leave me alone. Talking of Ash, I've heard they're bringing a figure out of Ash based on the first movie. Most figures are based on the sequel version. You mean?
You have far too many props going on.
That one. That is based on Ash v the Evil Dead. It's not the second movie.
It's still so gorgeous.
It's even got the picture of the car down in the bottom corner.
Oh, really?
So
that's the one where you lost out against the kid that got the.
Yes, I got this because he got the classic Hong Kong King Kong. So I ended up picking this one up, but it's still super. So it is.
You see, okay. I obviously I didn't see the King Kong one, but I think you won. To be honest, I think
I'm a big monster fan. I'm a big monster fan. So the classic King Kong. My mum used to always say, even right up just until she passed, that I was a big child because I hold on, I'll try to hang this back up before I forget. Right, I didn't want to drop anything else. I was a big Wayne because my first monster movie, King Kong, I great because King Kong died. I was in tears because King Kong died. Nothing to do with Fairy, it was King Kong. So my mum always used to say that, but I've always been a big classic King Kong fan. The new one, didn't care about it enough. I want so the figure I want, the McFarlane one. It's expensive. Unfortunately, the shop near me only had the new ones. I want the one where it's the stand and it's got Kong with the thick braces and he's attached to it and Fairy that he can put in his hand. That's the figure I want. Yes, it's thanks, MC. It is awesome. I'm going to do I'm tempted to do a box opening because I did a box opening in my Godzilla, which looks really cool. So I'm thinking about opening the Ash and doing an Ash one. So I might actually do that because I can't be here for the Saturday of the weekend of that. I might do a box opening and record it and upload it for that Saturday, so there's at least something going out. And yes, it's Sam Raimi's car. It always appears in the movies. Did you see? Have you read Hail to the Chin? Confessions of a B movie actor. or If Chins Could Kill, Bruce's 2 books, he talks about the car a good bit in that.
You see, because you have mentioned them so many times, and yes, I fanboying, fangirling, whatever you're gonna call it, I really love Bruce Campbell as an actor because I so thoroughly enjoy stuff he's in, even though I think the storyline may be questionable. What he brings to them, if he wasn't there, it would definitely be like, it would fall flat like a pancake because he's in them. He does bring gravitas, the presence, the capability. Even if his character is poorly written, he can literally take 90% written character to 100%. He can do that level, which is why I like a lot of the stuff. I will have to confess, I may not be a fan of everything he's been in.
Yeah.
But he's definitely been giving me so much enjoyment across the B movies that he's calling himself. I will always consider him, especially since I discovered him through Sci-Fi Channel back in the years. It's whenever I see him, I expect a bad movie plot
and a good
done really well.
I've been a big Bruce Campbell fan for ages, but this one here, box set coming out, Evil Dead 1 and 2, and Ash v Evil Dead in it, but no Army of Darkness. What? Why would they not actually have the third movie? Probably because a different studio had the rights to it. That's more likely why that happened. Annoying.
See, I love a box set with all of them combined.
Yeah, but because it's the same as the Pink Panther movies. There's a box set with all the Pink Panther movies except one, and that's because it was done by a different distributor, so couldn't join it. Haven't read them, but I did buy the Bubba Hotep is superb. Oh, and see the shop where I got my Godzilla, and I'm waiting for the King Kong. They've got a Bubba Hotep figure, and they've got the the Elvis figure, the Sam figure. The unfortunately is the Bubba Hotep is £60, and the Sam as Elvis is £70 for the figure. I didn't have the cash to buy that, but I wanted the Bruce Campbell's Elvis from Bubba Hotep. I love Bubba Hotep. I think it's a great movie.
You see, I'm hunting for it because I don't want to like cheat and like go on Amazon or Netflix or Disney or wherever it would be streamed now. I'm actually sort of trying to save myself to go and get the Bubba Hotep film.
The Bubba Hotep movie, cool. Great. That is thingy. So if how that looks, that's why I want to unbox the Ash v Evil Dead. It's basically the articulation and it's really good.
That's actually some really proper stuff.
So
you even got articulating arms, so it's not like just move it up, move it down. You can actually move it up and then twist the hand. And
you can actually take the open his gub, take that out.
Please don't break it on the stream.
And his mouth is articulated as well. So it is really good. The articulation on the feet as well, the knees, the legs is really good. Very well done. So it is. So
I obviously know you got your right hand broken at the moment, but that sounds to me like it would be perfect if you build a small like panorama set. Just like cardboard cutouts, like these are like skyscrapers and whatnot. Easily make that into a fantastic feature. And you probably already got some. You not see this? Oh, the soldiers, yeah. Oh, to scale even. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I've got the wee teeny soldiers. They're actually sitting with my basic diorama of the War of the Worlds spaceship. They don't really fit with it, but the tank fits a bit better with it. But these fit better with Godzilla. So the two of them are standing there, so it looks like the spaceship and Godzilla versus the soldiers and the tank.
Cam, by the way, is saying he's waiting for the unboxing of Ash.
I'm going to do the unboxing. I'm going to do it and then upload it for next weekend for the next weekend, which is the Halloween weekend. So I'm going to do the box. I'm just trying to actually get this in without actually doing too much damage, because
don't do what I did with my pirate ship, because
no,
I've broken about 6 items, and they took 3 days each to like glue, let it set, wait, and then
it has to go in a particular wee hole at the back of the jaw before the jaw comes up, and that's the thing. So
still, it looks really amazing.
It does. It is actually a fantastic figure. But I think I'm going to this week. I'm going to do an unboxing of the Ash and do that. But yeah, and look at that. Look at that. Right. Yeah. Godzilla's King of the Monsters, definitely. Bruce is a distant cousin. Met twice at a wedding, the family reunion. Can't wait for unbox. Oh!
You be careful, Cam, because I might want to be your best friend in the next couple of days.
See up there, I got Army of
Unfortunately, the camera doesn't show. But
if in my Man Cave video, it starts down with, it shows you the Ace, the Doctor Who, Tom Baker, and right above it you see my Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead, and it's got the film cells on it. And as you go round, I've got up there my videos. I've got the Evil Dead 1, 2, and 3. Well, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. I've got the TV shows. I've got Bubba Hotep. I've got Briscoe County Junior. I've got Jack of all trades. Bruce Campbell, his finest. I am so jealous.
Well, you know now where you need to go to get signs.
Yeah.
Like,
and I might say, I missed Cam on the Cam. You were on Spock's channel after me. I'm still got to finish watching it. I've not actually caught up on it yet. So I have, but I've still got to catch it, and we will need to go. Has been fun, and this Saturday we will be on early. We will put a time out nearer the time, because we need to actually organise it, because I've got stuff on 10 o'clock on this Saturday night.
Unfortunately, so do I, but
so we'll try and have to organise something. And I may be on Cardinal Sins on Sunday. Next Wednesday, we've not got a plan yet what it may be. We may actually do an Ash something, or a Bruce Campbell something, or a horror something. We will discuss that and put something out for next Wednesday. The Saturday after that weekend of the September weekend, the Halloween weekend, 29th thing, I will not be around at all, so I'll not have anything, but I want to.
We're basically surrendering to all the Halloween.
Yes, but I will have the Ash unboxing, and I'll have that uploaded, ready to go on the Saturday where my slot would have been. Then I'm back to normal Wednesday and Saturday again. So, MC Cam, let's go, Brandon.
I think Let's Go Brandon was actually in the channel earlier.
It was, and there was a few others. Darius, thank you, and I'm trying to find who else.
Although the phrase is probably going to be causing why I don't know why, but
Captain
service
Bell.
guarantees citizenship.
Yes, definitely. So the captain as well, and we had Brightest Day was in for a wee while as well.
That it was.
I was one.
Sure, I saw someone else.
I thought I saw someone else, but anyone we have missed, I thank you for joining us. Tune in on Saturday, maybe a bit early. We will let the time out, and thank you. Yeah, I was on the captaincy, did a 9-hour stream, so I'm still trying to plough through it before. I'm not even anywhere near where I was. I joined them about something like 6 hours in, and I was only there for about an hour and a half, 2 hours at most, and then it continued on after that. So I don't even know how when I joined him, but I know he kept going. So it was a 9-hour thing. So, and
I'll also definitely need to catch up on Captain's streams.
Yeah, but
the ones I've been able to have extra time to catch, it's like I really like this content.
Yeah, I do. I must admit, and I was on because people thought we were having an argument because last Saturday when I mentioned the James Bond thing, while we were on Saturday, he actually did a video basically saying that I was wrong, and people thought I was actually annoyed with that. I actually, after we came off, I saw he had one up, so I watched it and I went and told my wife. I says, "Captain's got a video about me," and she laughed as well. So I don't see an issue. Just ordered an ash and an army.
Someone thinks that because I'm there is only one superhero for me. That's Spider-Man. There are other heroes, but Spider-Man is my superhero. You can argue whatever way you want.
I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I grew up watching reading Spider-Man, watching Spider-Man. I stopped reading Spider-Man when Doc Ock became Spider-Man, the Spectacular Spider-Man. I had no interest in a villain being my hero, so I stopped reading it.
But even so, the switch and everything, and we're gonna try and cut this off in the next 60 seconds, by the way. But
yeah,
even so, I do like, and I know you said you were not too much fond of the evil guy being given like room or space or anything.
Yes,
I like you understanding more. Why does Spider-Man have to fight them, but not kill them or not be evil to them back?
Yeah.
That I like as an explanation of an evil guy.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Cam just ordered an Ash Funko. The Ash Funkos look great, and that store near me's got a load of Ash stuff. That is, I'm going to start building. I plan to go once a month to buy a figure once a month. So and there's got so many that I want, but the prices can be expensive. And an Army of Darkness poster, which is super. Hoping he will sign. If so, I will get you an autograph.
I have no room in the background if I got that one. I have to remove another favorite of mine, but even so.
Okay.
Thank you, Cam, by the way.
I definitely Cam. I would actually clear a space on my wall, and there's not a lot of space, but I would clear a space. You kidding?
I do have this tiny space, but it's literally like 10 inches tall at most.
I saw the captain's team. I watched it in faster speed. You kidding? He talks fast enough as it is to try and speed him up. Yes, Cam, MC, thank you very much for keeping with us. Ladies and gents, thank you for joining us. We've had a great stream. Yes, it started off as the Boondock Saints and sort of spiraled, but it always does. That's what being a good chat causes. It snakes out and we can talk about other things. So thank you very much, guys.
And don't worry, guys, we're probably going to round back on it when we get Wendy back on, because she seemed to really love it. And it may be a future reference as well. It's like, we saw this again,
because there is another movie, number 2. We could compare it to number 1 and see how bad one is compared to the other. So there always is chances for that. And definitely catch you all later. And remember, I'm not old. I'm classic.
I'm just old.
What do you mean you're just old? Anyway, guys,